The first thing you do after transmigrating to Douluo is to sacrifice yourself to Bibi Dong, because the moment you opened your eyes, you faced a hellish start. You had actually become that heavily wounded, low health, 100,000-year-old soul beast, the Death Spider Emperor. And at this moment, Bibi Dong was standing not far away. According to the residual memories of this body, between soul beasts and the same type of martial soul, there exists an extremely special bloodline resonance. This is not just a relationship of predator and prey, but a perfect fit, since the Sky Dream Ice Worm could use the method of sacrifice to retain its consciousness and dwell within a human body. Then with the same top-tier mental strength and vitality, why couldn't you? At this time, Bibi Dong crossed the Death Valley filled with toxic barriers, and silently infiltrated the Death Spider Emperor's massive underground lair. She knew well that a trapped beast fighting for its life is most dangerous, especially this kind of soul beast that possesses the innate skill of an undying body, a 100,000-year-old soul beast. A final desperate attack could take a titled Douluo down with it, so she had to wait until the Death Spider Emperor became so weak that it couldn't even self-destruct. However, when she stepped into the core area of the lair, her pupils suddenly contracted. That spider body, as massive as a small mountain, had vanished. Only puddles of undried dark green blood remained on the ground. Impossible. It was wounded so badly. How could it possibly escape my perception? Alarm bells rang in Bibi Dong's mind. Just as she was about to release her mental strength to search the surroundings, a terrifying pressure that made her very soul tremble erupted from behind her without warning, accompanied by a piercing, earth-shattering screech. A massive shadow instantly enveloped Bibi Dong. She whipped around, only to see, on a shaded rock wall behind her, the Death Spider Emperor hanging upside down. Its previously broken spider legs had all fully regrown, sharp as spears, shimmering with a cold, eerie light. The once cracked carapace was now smooth and as good as new. A purple-black aura flowed throughout its entire body. An evil and domineering aura, was even stronger than when she first encountered it. This is far from being on the verge of death. This is clearly its prime. Turbulent waves of shock rose in Bibi Dong's heart. Half a month ago, she watched with her own eyes as this creature had half its body torn apart by 3 top-tier 10,000-year soul beasts. Even its proud undying body had failed because its soul power was exhausted. That was a critical wound that damaged its essence. Let alone half a month. Even 10 years of recovery might not have been enough. Could it be that it had been playing weak all this year, just to lure her deeper inside, and then counterattack in this enclosed lair? A drop of cold sweat slid down Bibi Dong's forehead. Facing a 100,000-year-old Death Spider Emperor in its prime, even as a genius with twin martial souls, her chances of winning were less than 30%. However, what she didn't know was that right now, you were panicking like crazy. I have to stay calm. If I show even the slightest opening, this crazy woman will pounce and tear me apart. Just now, you forcibly burned your life essence to activate the healing effect of the undying body. Now, this is just an empty shell. If there was a chance to fight Bibi Dong before, now it's safe to say I'm completely vulnerable. But you had to do this. If you lay on the ground begging for mercy like a dead dog, given Bibi Dong's suspicious and ruthless nature, she would definitely stab you to death first, and then slowly absorb the soul ring. After all, a dead soul beast is the safest. To sacrifice yourself while retaining consciousness, and become her cheat like the Sky Dream Ice Worm, you first have to establish a premise. Deterrence. You must make Bibi Dong feel that killing you would come at a heavy price, or perhaps even result in mutual destruction. Only when she finds it too difficult to fight, or the cost is too high, will she be willing to sit down and listen to a win-win proposal. Your 8 eerie green eyes coldly locked onto Bibi Dong, enduring the dizziness caused by the rapid drain of life force, without attacking directly, but slowly opening those massive pincers. A mental wave belonging to an emperor surged arrogantly into Bibi Dong's mind. Human, you want my power? Bibi Dong was deeply shaken, although she knew long ago that the intelligence of 100,000-year-old soul beasts is no less than humans, and in some ways, they are even more cunning. But this was the first time in over a year that the Death Spider Emperor she had been hunting had taken the initiative to communicate with her. Bibi Dong did not respond. Her body tensed, soul power circulating secretly, ready to flee at any moment. For the sake of revenge, she must endure. She absolutely cannot die here. Since the hunt failed, she would have to rethink her plan, even if she had to wait a few more years. Seeming to see through Bibi Dong's intention to retreat, your massive compound eyes shimmered with an eerie light. You don't need to rush off, nor do you need to be nervous. In fact, 10 years ago, when you first entered the outskirts of Death Valley for training, I have already noticed you. Bibi Dong's pupils contracted slightly. That was back when she was still the saintess. To break through the soul saint bottleneck, she came to the Death Valley alone, to hunt the 7th soul ring of the Death Spider Emperor. Although you were weak back then, but your martial soul piqued my interest. A martial soul like the Death Spider Emperor appearing in a human is truly rare. But ever since you took the 7th soul ring and left, you never appeared again. You vanished for several years. I thought you had already died out there. Bibi Dong's cautious expression instantly turned pale. Then, an uncontrollable, terrifying chill erupted from within her. That wasn't killing intent directed at you, but a bone-deep malice and hatred. Back then, she returned to the spirit hall in high spirits with the 7th soul ring, only to be ruined by that scumbag named Qian Xuanji, imprisoned in a dark secret room, forced to violate the daughter she regarded as her beloved, until she learned to disguise herself, learned to bury her hatred deep in her heart. Only then did that man let down his guard, and lift her house arrest. Then she rushed into the slaughter city like a madwoman, numbing herself in endless slaughter. You look down at Bibi Dong, even from a distance. You can feel the sudden chaos in this woman's aura. It seems, I've touched upon some unpleasant matters, but my interest in you is not just in your martial soul, but also in that nostalgic aura you carry. Your massive head leans forward slightly, staring intently at Bibi Dong. The aura of Rakshasa. Bibi Dong's expression froze. The inheritance of the Rakshasa god is her greatest secret, a chance she gained through near-death experiences in the Slaughter City, and her greatest trump card for revenge against the Angel clan. Other than herself, absolutely no one in this world knows. How could this soul beast possibly perceive it? You enjoy Bibi Dong's expression at this moment. An eerie light flickers in your giant compound eyes, beginning a seamless performance. Surprised? After all, I am an old relic who has lived on this continent for 100,000 years, a mere remnant of divine power. How could I not recognize it? 30,000 years ago, when the Rakshasa god ascended to the god realm, that evil and grand aura, I remember it vividly to this day. I just didn't expect that the aura of Rakshasa would appear again. It seems, you should have already received the recognition of the Rakshasa god's inheritance. But you haven't officially started the divine trial yet, right? Let me think. Rakshasa and the angel are archenemies. The condition to start the Rakshasa divine trial, or the biggest obstacle, should be related to the angel clan, right? Bibi Dong froze completely. If the Rakshasa aura could be attributed to keen perception, then the connection to the angel clan could absolutely not be a coincidence. The condition to open the Rakshasa secret realm is precisely the need to devour the soul of a 6-winged angel martial soul possessor. What exactly is this soul beast? You look at Bibi Dong's expression, as if she's seen a ghost, feeling secretly smug, only by shaking her until she's completely disoriented. Will the subsequent cooperation be natural? No need to look at me with those eyes. In the past tens of thousands of years, I've seen other humans who obtained the Rakshasa inheritance. Unfortunately, they were too stupid and too arrogant. Before they could grow, they were wiped out by the descendants of the angel god. But you, Bibi Dong, are different. In you, I see a quality that even previous Rakshasa inheritors did not possess: extreme resentment and extreme endurance. In you, I see true hope. What hope? The hope of becoming a god. 100,000-year soul beast is indeed powerful, but our fate is destined to be tragic. Either vanish into ash under the heavenly tribulation every 100,000 years, or become soul rings for you humans. As for transforming and cultivating anew, that is merely giving up all power, placing one's life in the hands of greedy humans, simply seeking one's own death. I don't want to die under the heavenly tribulation, nor do I want to die without value. Bibi Dong narrowed her eyes. As a smart person, she had already vaguely guessed the other's intention, but that guess was too crazy for her to believe it. What exactly are you trying to say? You look down at her. 8 spear-like spider legs pull in slightly, making a very human-like shrugging gesture. I want to cooperate with you. I will help you become a god. You will lead me to transcendence. Haven't you been calculatingly wanting my soul ring and soul bone? No problem. I can give it to you. As long as you agree to my conditions, I can even sacrifice myself for you. What did you say? Sacrifice is the most extreme form of sacrifice for a soul beast. It means voluntarily giving up one's life, giving one's soul and power to a human without reservation. After the initial shock, Bibi Dong did not lose her head. Instead, she stared at you with even more vigilance. Why? There are no gifts in this world without a reason, much less offering up one's life. You are the ruler of this death canyon, with a cultivation of 100,000 years. Why would you be willing to sacrifice yourself for a human? Because you're too annoying. Bibi Dong was stunned for a moment, clearly not expecting this answer. For a whole year, 365 days, you've been like a fly that can't be shooed away or swatted dead, coming to harass this emperor every few days, releasing poison today, setting traps tomorrow, and the day after, leading other soul beasts here to party. I have lived for 100,000 years, and I've never seen a human as annoying as you. The corner of Bibi Dong's mouth twitched slightly. It was her first time being rejected by a soul beast for such a reason. Secondly, you've used this past year to prove your persistence. As the saying goes, it's not the theft that's scary, but the obsession of the thief. Being targeted by a thief as talented and ruthless as you. How could I ever have a moment of peace? Moreover, at your rate of growth, I fear it will only take a few years for you to reach level 95 or above. By then, I'm afraid I will truly become your soul ring. Since I'm doomed either way, I might as well be direct. Use my life to gamble for a chance to transcend the god realm. These words sounded reasonable, containing both the pride of the strong and a compromise with reality. But Bibi Dong still didn't fully lower her guard. She is a person with an extremely strong desire for control, and would never allow uncontrollable factors to exist. I don't believe it. You think I'll believe you so easily? Once the sacrifice is complete, you will be left with only a sliver of a remnant soul. If I don't fulfill my promise, then you will be powerless to stop me. You are right. Human oaths. I don't believe a single punctuation mark of them. Therefore, I have a more secure method. At the moment of sacrifice, I will inject my soul's origin into the resulting soul bone. The soul bone is a physical entity, and the dwelling place of my soul. If you intend to discard me once I'm no longer useful, or fail to help me become a god, I can detonate the soul origin within the bone at any time. The power of 100,000-year soul bone exploding inside your body. Bibi Dong, you should be very clear about the consequences. Bibi Dong narrowed her eyes, quickly calculating in her mind. This is indeed the final countermeasure a soul beast can employ. If it were an ordinary title Douluo, they might truly be constrained by this. But once she inherits the position of the Rakshasa god, a mere remnant soul in a soul bone would be as easy to erase as turning over her hand. Thinking of this, a flicker of barely perceptible cunning flashed in Bibi Dong's eyes. On the surface, however, she nodded solemnly. Fine. I agree. Once I ascend to the god realm, I will surely bring you with me. You laughed in your heart. She took the bait. This woman is indeed arrogant. Injecting the soul into a soul bone. Only a fool would do that. That's like living under someone else's roof, where the landlord can kick you out at any time. What you actually do is completely merge your soul into Bibi Dong's martial soul. When the time comes, if she wants to erase you, she would have to be willing to perish with you. In an instant, a terrifying blood-red magnetic field erupted violently from you, instantly sealing off the entire nest. This is the active sacrifice of a 100,000-year soul beast. The overbearing magnetic field directly imprisoned this piece of heaven and earth. Your massive body began to burn, turning into the purest torrent of energy, rushing wildly into Bibi Dong's body. There was no pain, nor any resistance, even because of their shared origin. This energy was even more docile than imagined. A soul ring shimmering with an eerie red light slowly coalesced beneath her. When the last wisp of energy settled into stillness, inside the nest, Bibi Dong, sitting cross-legged, suddenly snapped her eyes open. Massive soul power surged within her. That bright red 100,000-year soul ring pulsed quietly, emitting an aura that made the heart tremble. This is the power of a 100,000-year soul ring. Bibi Dong looked at her hands. A triumphant, crazed smile curled on her lips. Death Spider Emperor. In the end, you became my stepping stone. Once I complete the Rakshasa god trial, your soul will be the first sacrifice. However, before her smile could fully bloom. It froze on her face. A strange sense of dizziness struck without warning, followed by an intense feeling of weightlessness. It was the sensation of consciousness detaching from the body. What's happening? Bibi Dong was startled. She instinctively tried to raise her right hand to her forehead, but what rose was her left foot. Bibi Dong's pupils dilated in shock. She discovered in horror that she was losing control of her body. Clearly, she wanted to stand still, but her body stretched on its own. It even twisted its neck, making a series of crisp cracking sounds. Then, that familiar voice, which should have been sealed in the soul bone, actually echoed in the deepest part of her mind, right next to her soul. Is this what a human body is like? A bit fragile, perhaps, but it feels quite good. Death Spider Emperor, how can you control my body? Shouldn't you be inside the soul bone? Get out of me. Did I ever say I was in the soul bone? You plotted against me. Bibi Dong felt her very soul trembling. She desperately tried to regain control of her body, only to find that her first martial soul, the Death Spider Emperor, was tightly entwined with this fellow's soul, completely impossible to separate. Now, don't be like that. We're partners, after all. As for why I can control your body, I'm not entirely sure myself. Maybe it's because our compatibility is just too high. After all, you are the Death Spider Emperor, and I am also the Death Spider Emperor. We're all family. Why distinguish between you and me? Moreover, I've given my life to you, haven't I? After a brief outburst of collapse, Bibi Dong attempted to forcibly reclaim her body. Suddenly, the phantom of the Death Spider Emperor behind her slowly faded, replaced by a dark green, soul-eating spider emperor emitting an even colder aura. The moment the martial soul switched, that eerie feeling of losing control vanished instantly. Bibi Dong felt her body grow heavy. Then, absolute control over every limb and bone returned to her hands. She knelt on one knee, gasping for air. Cold sweat had already soaked her back. As expected, this guy exists by relying on the Death Spider Emperor. As long as I switch to the soul-eating Spider Emperor, and suppress him with a completely different soul power attribute, I can regain control of my body. Death Spider Emperor. In the end, you're just a parasite. Once I have a free moment, I'll have plenty of ways to deal with you. However, what she didn't know was that at the other end of her spiritual sea, you were lying comfortably in the depths of her soul. Looking at Bibi Dong's "I won" expression, you couldn't help but want to laugh. Silly woman, do you really think you've suppressed me? It's just that I don't want to fight her for the steering wheel. Although you are now one with the Death Spider Emperor martial soul, and theoretically have very high authority, but Bibi Dong is, after all, the original owner of this body. If both were to fight for control at the same time, or if two completely different top-tier Spider Emperor soul powers fought within the meridians, the only outcome would be shattered meridians, or even exploding to death. If Bibi Dong blew up, you'd be finished too. Since she wants this illusion of security, then just give it to her. Don't be so fierce. Didn't I just give it back to you? Shut up. Although she regained control, the killing intent in Bibi Dong's heart didn't diminish in the slightest. You'd better pray I never find a way to strip you away. Otherwise, I will make you regret ever coming into this world. If you dare think that, I'll take you down with me. Bibi Dong's gaze was gloomy. She didn't respond, although the process was extremely frustrating, and she was even played, but the result was tangible. She obtained a 100,000-year soul ring. Her soul power broke through to level 92, and besides having an extra tenant in her body, she suffered no substantial damage. As an ambitious woman who could endure anything for revenge, Bibi Dong knew very well that the priority wasn't to be angry with this old rogue, but how to maximize the use of this power. Now, little Dong Dong, don't just focus on being angry. Your venture into the Death Valley this time, besides hunting me down, you probably also wanted to add soul rings to your second martial soul, the soul-eating Spider Emperor, right? So what if I did? I can help you. I have ruled this Death Valley for tens of thousands of years, where the oldest soul beasts reside. And which soul beast attributes suit you best? No one in this world knows better than I do. Bibi Dong's eyes flickered slightly. The Death Valley is fraught with danger, its terrain as complex as a maze. Although she was powerful, wanting to find a high-year soul beast, perfectly suited for the soul-eating Spider Emperor in a short time, would be like looking for a needle in a haystack. In the bone-rotting bustling swamp 30 miles away, there dwells a 60,000-year-old underground demon spider emperor. That fellow is skilled in stealth and ambush. Its soul ring skills will definitely bring a great surprise to your soul-eating spider emperor. And most importantly, that bastard took advantage of my injury half a year ago to steal the food I had stockpiled. I've disliked him for a long time. Bibi Dong's lips twitched slightly. So this is just a personal vendetta. However, a 60,000-year underground demon spider emperor is indeed an extremely rare top-tier soul beast. Its attributes are known for eerie control, and its compatibility with the soul-eating spider emperor is excellent. You'd better not play any tricks. Don't worry, helping you is helping myself. I'm counting on you to become a god and carry me to the top. Using the memories of the death spider emperor, you guided Bibi Dong. That guy, Skydream Ice Worm, chose a Huiyuhao who hadn't grown up yet, and has to raise him from scratch. I started with a max level account for power leveling. This is the correct way to win effortlessly. Half a month later, deep within the Death Valley, atop a secluded cliff, as the last wisp of violent black soul power was absorbed into her body, Bibi Dong, sitting cross-legged, suddenly opened her eyes. A terrifying soul power fluctuation centered on her, swept violently in all directions like a tsunami. The surrounding rocks instantly crumbled into powder, and even the perennial toxic miasma was forced back hundreds of meters by this aura, revealing a long-lost clear sky. Under the guidance of a full-map cheat like you, Bibi Dong, with an efficiency that would make the entire Spirit Master world tremble, precisely hunted 5 top-tier spider soul beasts over 50,000 years old. Now her soul power was unstoppable, surging directly to the peak of level 96. With just a little stabilization, breaking through to level 97 is just around the corner. How do you feel, my saintess? Just then, a purple-black figure slowly walked up beside Bibi Dong, speaking in that signature lazy voice. That figure looked exactly like Bibi Dong, from her appearance and figure, to the terrifying aura she emitted. They were identical. This was exactly Bibi Dong's first martial soul, the Death Spider Emperor's 8th soul skill, Spider Emperor Clone. This was originally a skill that consumed immense mental energy. Although the clone possessed 100% of the original's power, the clone itself had no intelligence, and required the original to split her attention to control it. In intense life-and-death battles, multitasking is often a fatal mistake. Thus, this god-tier skill was diminished in actual combat. But now, this drawback has been perfectly solved, because the one controlling this clone right now is you. During the hunting process of the past half-month, whenever Bibi Dong absorbed a soul ring, and was in her most vulnerable state, she would release the Spider Emperor clone for you to take over. This was equivalent to Bibi Dong carrying an absolutely secure, super bodyguard with 100% of her combat power. Bibi Dong looked at the one in front of her with her own face, who was even narcissistically tidying her hair. Although her peripheral gaze was still a bit unnatural, the hostility in her heart had largely dissipated. Over the past half-month, your performance has been nothing short of perfect. Precise location reporting, analyzing weaknesses, formulating tactics, and even acting as the perfect guardian while she absorbed soul rings. If she had previously been forced to accept this parasite, then now Bibi Dong had to admit that this guy is an addictive cheat. Not far ahead is the 10,000 Snake Cave. There are 2 70,000-year-old Medusa snake emperors inside. If you slay them too, the soul ring configuration of your soul-eating spider emperor can reach another level. It might even push you directly to level 98. Don't be greedy. Too much is indigestible. Rising 4 levels in half a month is already the absolute limit. If I don't take time to stabilize my foundation, this sudden surge of power will only be a castle in the air. Moreover, for the remaining soul ring slots, I don't want to just fill them with some random tens of thousands year soul beasts. Since I'm doing this, I will do it to the absolute extreme. Fine. You decide on your soul ring. You didn't even try to resist, just controlling that Spider Empress clone. Lying bored on a massive rock, 2 long legs crossed, crossing legs and swinging them back and forth, one hand propping up the chin, the other hand grasping at nothing in the air, looking like a street thug. Nan Fong, Get up. That's my face. It's my body. Even if it's just a clone. You can't strike such a shameless pose. No one's watching. What's wrong with relaxing a bit? Though you complained, you still controlled the clone to sit up. But the sitting posture was still a bit sloppy. This human body of yours, though not as stable as my original 8 legs, but I have to say, this soft structure is quite comfortable to lounge in. Shut up and sit properly. Bibi Dong seemed to think of something. On that originally cold and elegant face, a strange blush actually appeared. But this wasn't shyness. It was indignation. She stared intently at you. The chill in her eyes was even deeper than before. Also, don't think I don't know. While I was absorbing the soul ring, what you were doing. What did I do? Wasn't I just guarding you? Does guarding require touching my body? Whenever she was in a state of deep meditation, she could always feel a pair of hands wandering over her. Although nothing excessive was done, but they lingered on her sensitive waist, abdomen, back, and even on her thighs. For Bibi Dong, with such a painful past, any unauthorized physical touch is an untouchable taboo. If it were an injury during battle, that would be one thing. But this was clearly harassment taking advantage of her. Looking at Bibi Dong's expression as if she wanted to eat him alive, you froze for a full 3 seconds before reacting. You mean I touched you? Sister, you're being way too narcissistic. I was checking your meridian flow and soul bone fusion. Your soul ring absorption speed was too fast. Soul power was crashing through your meridians. What if something went wrong? Besides, I am the noble death spider empress. In my aesthetic, only those with sharp chelicerae, hard carapaces, and female spiders covered in spines are peerless beauties. To me, touching you is no different from touching a piece of pork belly. Other than being a vessel, I have no worldly desire for this body. Bibi Dong let out a sigh. Her tense body finally relaxed, and the look in her eyes was no longer so murderous. Although being compared to pork belly was annoying, but as long as this guy didn't mean it that way, she could accept it. It had better be. If I find you have any ulterior motives, even at the cost of soul power backlash, I will make you pay the price. Fine, fine. I get it. You waved your hand. With a thought, the Spider Empress clone instantly turned into countless light particles. Dissipating, your consciousness returned to Bibi Dong's sea of spirit. Let's get going. I'm sick of this crappy place. Take me to see that spirit hall of yours. At this time, Spirit City was shrouded in an oppressive cloud. As soon as Bibi Dong entered the city gates, the overwhelming rumors reached her ears. To hunt down that 100,000-year-old blue-silver emperor humanoid soul beast, Chineseanime led Chrysanthemum and Ghost. 2 titled Douluos and several spirit saint elites went out in full force, only to face a desperate counterattack from the Clear Sky sect genius, Tang Hao. With the strength of a newly minted title Douluo, Tang Hao brutally smashed the Pope's party, severely wounding Chineseanime. Then he walked away triumphantly. If not for the desperate protection of the 2 titled Douluos, Chineseanime would likely have perished on the spot. What a man, Tang Hao, walking on the jade steps toward the Pope's palace. On the surface, Bibi Dong looked grave and deeply worried, but deep inside, she was laughing wildly. If the occasion weren't so inappropriate, she would have even wanted to set up a longevity tablet for Tang Hao on the spot. Bibi Dong had originally been thinking about how to find an opportunity. After all, Chineseanime was a level 95 title Douluo. Not to mention she was only level 96. Even if she reached level 98, killing that guy in Spirit City would be nearly impossible, since the 2 title Douluos were guarding him. Not to mention Qian Daolu on the mountain and those enshrined ones she had endured for so many years, not just to perish together with Chineseanime, but now Chineseanime is severely injured. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Bibi Dong pushed open the doors to the Pope's bedroom. A strong smell of medicine mixed with a sacred aura of light wafted toward her. Upon the wide bed, Chineseanime's face was as pale as paper, his whole body wrapped in bandages, his breath as weak as a flickering candle in the wind. And by the bedside, 2 towering figures stood guard on either side. Seeing Bibi Dong enter, Golden Crocodile Douluo frowned slightly, while Qian Daolu slowly turned around. For over a year, where have you been? The Pope is gravely injured. Spirit Hall is in a state of panic. As the saintess, yet your whereabouts were unknown. If it were before, Bibi Dong might have broken into a cold sweat under this pressure. But now, having been completely transformed. She simply bowed slightly, performing a standard disciple's salute, with a perfectly timed expression of guilt and worry, replying to the high priest. This disciple knew her cultivation bottleneck was hard to break. To not fail the teacher's expectations. I spent this past year training alone in the Death Valley, seeking an opportunity for a breakthrough. As soon as I emerged, I heard the teacher met with disaster. I was consumed with anxiety, and rushed back immediately. A flicker of surprise crossed Qian Daoliu's eyes. The Death Valley is known as a forbidden zone for soul masters. Even he was unwilling to venture deep into it. You broke through? Bibi Dong didn't speak. She only released a sliver of her aura. A massive surge of soul power belonging to a titled Douluo flickered and vanished, although she deliberately suppressed her realm, showing only the level of someone who just entered rank 91. And used the aura of the soul-eating spider emperor to mask her true strength. But this was enough to move the two elders present. You actually took this step. A titled Douluo under the age of 30. This is truly unprecedented. Even the usually impassive Qian Daolu had a flicker of complex admiration and relief in his eyes. Even he had to admit, Bibi Dong is the most outstanding genius in the history of Spirit Hall. Good, very good. Twin martial souls, to become a titled Douluo at such an age. Although Xuanji is injured, as long as you are here, the future of Spirit Hall still exists. How is the teacher? His life has been saved for now. I really didn't expect that Tang Hao could master a move like the Great Sumera Hammer. However, given his state as a newly minted titled Douluo, to exert that level of power, he probably isn't doing much better than Xuanji right now. So now, his life is saved. But as for recovery, it's as difficult as climbing to heaven. The second priest and I have worked together to clear his meridians, and suppress the injuries. Now it depends on his own slow recovery. Now that you are the saintess, you will temporarily handle the affairs of the Pope's palace. You may leave. Leaving the Pope's bedroom, Bibi Dong returned to her own saintess palace. You forcibly activated the Death Spider Emperor's 8th soul skill, the Spider Emperor clone, and just popped out on its own. Bibi Dong was somewhat speechless, but she couldn't be bothered. At least this thing didn't steal her body. You control that stunningly beautiful Spider Emperor clone. Disgustedly spitting the exquisite cakes all over the floor. PTU, PTU, PTU. What a piece of junk. There's no taste at all. It's like swallowing a lump of air. Your soul skill is only impressive to look at. All show and no substance. No taste. No touch. Can't even feel heat or cold. How boring. If you're really that bored, then go back to the sea of consciousness. I need peace and quiet right now, to think about the next plan. That man lying in the hospital bed is like a thorn. That has pricked her for so many years. Now the chance to pull it out is right before her. She must ensure there are no mistakes. What's there to think about? Once those two old fogies leave, just go in, activate your martial soul, and devour him. Done. Easier said than done. This is the Pope's palace, right under Qian Daoliu's nose. Killing Qian Xuanji is easy, but what happens after? That old thing Qian Daolu may not care for worldly affairs, but he's extremely protective. If he finds out I killed his son, what are the odds you think I'll walk out of Spirit City alive? That's why I revealed my strength just now, to prove to him that I am more valuable than Qian Xuanji. As long as the value is high enough, perhaps I can gamble for a sliver of survival. If the gamble fails, at worst, we both perish. As long as I can kill that scumbag, even if I have to hide in the Rakshasa realm and never return to the world, I'll accept it. Such deep hatred. Bibi Dong thought you had finally quieted down, and was preparing to refine the details of the assassination. However, in the next second, a familiar and maddening dizziness suddenly struck. Bibi Dong felt her vision go dark. Control of her body shifted in an instant. Nan Feng, are you crazy? I already gave you the clone. Why steal my body too? I told you that clone is a piece of junk. Food has no taste in it. In reality, Bibi Dong naturally extended her slender hand, picked up a piece of osmanthus cake, elegantly placing it into her red lips, chewing slowly. As the sweet, chewy taste bloomed on her tongue, she closed her eyes in pure bliss. Now this is more like it. Soft, chewy, and sweet. Melts in the mouth. This is what it feels like to be alive. You stole my body, just to eat a piece of cake? Are you the reincarnation of a starving ghost? I gave you my life. What's wrong with eating a bit? Besides, you don't need a body to think. What's wrong with letting me borrow it? Bibi Dong was speechless, but she didn't want to waste words on this intermittently insane old spider. Then, she sank her consciousness deep, to ponder the next plan. The back garden of the Saintess Palace. You, controlling Bibi Dong's body, still holding half a piece of unfinished mung bean cake, strolling leisurely. Suddenly, you came to a halt. Behind a cluster of tall violets, a petite golden figure was sneakily peeking out. It was a little girl about 8 or 9 years old, exquisitely beautiful, with brilliant blonde hair and pure golden eyes. She radiated the kind of aura that made Bibi Dong feel nauseous, a holy light aura, the unique scent of the angel clan. It was Chineseanime. Deep within the sea of consciousness, Bibi Dong, who had been meditating with closed eyes, snapped them open. It was as if she had seen something filthy, extreme disgust and a hint of imperceptible panic. Tell her to get lost. But you turned a deaf ear. A playful smile curled on your lips. With a flicker, you vanished from the spot. Chineseanime, about to sneak away, felt a blur before her eyes, and a tall figure blocked her path. Chineseanime let out a startled cry, stumbling and nearly falling. When she saw clearly who was before her, her delicate little face instantly turned pale. Her body began to tremble uncontrollably. Mother, I didn't mean to. However, the expected reprimand never came. Controlling Bibi Dong's body, you slowly squatted down, bringing your gaze level with Chineseanime's. There was no trace of disgust on that stunning face. Instead, it held a touch of curiosity and a gentle smile. Little sister, who are you? Why are you hiding here alone? Are you lost? Then, you reached out, wanting to pinch Chineseanime's chubby cheeks. Chineseanime was completely stunned. Her golden pupils trembled violently. This gentle tone she had never experienced, left the love-starved Chineseanime's mind blank. But her heart began to race uncontrollably. Nan Feng, shut up. Who told you to touch her? Get away from her. Give me back my body. Bibi Dong roared frantically, trying to forcibly reclaim control of her body. She could not bear this scene. Even if someone else was controlling her body, showing even a shred of tenderness to that child, made her feel disgusted, feeling it as a betrayal of her past hatred. But this time, you didn't just go along with it as usual. Instead, you firmly maintained dominance. Stop it. I'm paving the way for you. If you want Chineseanime to die silently and securely ascend to the position of Pope, then you'd better cooperate and finish this act with me. What do you mean? I saw it in your memory fragments. This little girl is Qian Daolu's precious. If Qian Daolu sees that you no longer hate this child, and even start showing motherly love after losing your memory, what do you think? An old man who hopes for family harmony. What would he think? He'll think it's destiny. An opportunity where you forgot your hatred due to cultivation deviation. When the time comes, as long as you win this little girl over, with this amulet of deep mother-daughter affection, even if Chineseanime dies, for the sake of his granddaughter's feelings, and the stability of the spirit hull, he will never lay a finger on you. This is what's called, controlling the emperor to command the nobles. You felt you were practically a genius. Playing the family card was an absolute killing move. However, you underestimated Bibi Dong's psychological trauma. For Bibi Dong, Chineseanime's very existence was a form of torture. Using this child, and playing a loving mother, this was more painful than killing her. I don't need it. Stop pretending. I've entered your sea of consciousness. I've seen the fragments of your memories. If you truly hated her to the bone and wanted her dead, then why haven't you acted? With your strength, killing a little girl who cannot resist wouldn't even require a physical move. A hint of killing intent would be enough. You keep her around, watching her, wanting to kill her yet unable to do so. Since that's the case, why not let me help you utilize this value? Otherwise, if you truly want revenge on Chineseanime, let's just kill this little girl right now. Then Chineseanime and Qian Daolu would absolutely go insane on the spot. That would be the ultimate revenge. Do you dare? I told you to shut up. Those were the most secret scars, deep within Bibi Dong's heart that she least wanted to face, now ruthlessly exposed by this foreign soul. Give my body back. Outside, Bibi Dong, who had been squatting before Chineseanime with a smile, suddenly erupted with a terrifying dark green aura. That was the power of the soul-eating spider emperor. Bibi Dong wanted to forcibly reclaim control of her body, even if it meant paying a price. You're crazy. Switching martial souls now could be fatal. This is for your own good. Get out. Bibi Dong could no longer listen to any explanations. The cold and overbearing soul power of the soul-eating spider emperor clashed violently within the meridians, attempting to squeeze your soul out. In reality, before Qianrenxue could recover from the shock of her mother suddenly becoming gentle. She saw her mother's face instantly turn pale, her features twisting in pain. Immediately after, a terrifying wave of air exploded from within her body, knocking the defenseless Qianrenxue straight to the ground. Bibi Dong's body trembled violently, a streak of bright red blood leaking from the corner of her mouth, her eyes rolling back. Then she fell straight backward, falling unconscious. "Mother, someone help. Mother has fainted." The shrill voice of a child instantly pierced the silence of the Saintess Hall. Qianrenxue scrambled over, throwing herself onto Bibi Dong, looking at that face as pale as paper, tears streaming down her face. Deep within the sea of consciousness, it was complete chaos. You rubbed your consciousness, which was nearly shaken apart, looking at the equally wretched and unconscious Bibi Dong nearby, and couldn't help but curse. This woman is truly a lunatic. Great. She's completely crashed herself. Although the process was a bit brutal, the effect seemed even better than expected. To save her suddenly ill mother, little Qianrenxue cried so heartbreakingly. If this scene reached Qian Daoliu's ears, this ruse would be a perfect score. At the same time, a streak of ice blue light swept out from the shadows like a startled swan, instantly landing beside Qianrenxue. The newcomer looked like a youth, but had long, snow-white hair, with his left eye covered by an eye patch. He was the 5th enshrined priest of the Spirit Hall, a peak level 96 title Douluo, Guangling Douluo. He had been ordered to protect Qianrenxue in secret. The incident had happened so suddenly, and the aura on Bibi Dong was far too eerie, that he didn't dare to appear immediately. "Little Shuer, are you alright?" Guangling first nervously checked her from head to toe, confirming that this little ancestor was only knocked over by the air wave and had a few scratches, and had suffered no internal injuries. Only then did he breathe a sigh of relief. "Fifth Grandpa, I'm fine." "Quick, look at Mother. She suddenly fainted, and coughed up a lot of blood." "Don't worry, I'll check now." The moment his soul power probed into Bibi Dong's body, two completely different, yet equally overbearing and terrifying powers, nearly knocked his fingers away. One was a purple-black soul power filled with the aura of death. The other was a dark green soul power filled with devourment and evil. The two powers fought frantically within Bibi Dong's meridians, as if they intended to tear this body apart as a battlefield. Guangling gasped. "This is big trouble. These are two extremely powerful soul powers clashing within the body. I have never seen such a situation. This kind of strange occurrence, probably only Big Brother can figure out." The Guangling divine bow in his hand was instantly drawn full. An ice-blue arrow without a physical form soared into the sky, exploding into a magnificent ice flower above the Pope's palace. Just a few breaths later, two peerlessly terrifying auras swept across from the direction of the Pope's palace, instantly descending upon the Saintess Hall garden. "What happened, brother? Look at this woman. She seemed to have lost her memory just now. She didn't even recognize little Shuer, and she was so gentle, as if she were a different person." But before they could say a few words, she suddenly collapsed, and fell unconscious. Golden Crocodile Douluo stepped forward abruptly. His withered palm hovered over Bibi Dong, sensing for a moment. Then, on that wrinkled old face, an expression of sheer disbelief appeared. "Brother, back then, Tang Chen and you, at this age, didn't have this level of cultivation, did they?" Xian Daolu didn't speak, but the shock in his eyes was no less than golden crocodiles. He stepped forward quickly, placing a hand on Bibi Dong's forehead. Massive angel soul power was slowly infused, the two Spider Empress soul powers fighting inside her, seeming to sense an external enemy, actually stopped fighting each other briefly. This created a force of resistance against the outside. "Brother, how is it?" "It's in chaos. She has twin martial souls. Xuanji once told me this secret, but twin martial souls are a taboo in the world of spirit masters. Once soul rings are added to the second martial soul, it easily causes soul power conflicts, leading to the body exploding. I don't know what miracle she encountered this past year, but she forcibly added several high-year soul rings to her second martial soul, forcing her soul power all the way up to level 96. Her power grew too quickly, and her foundation is unstable. She is suffering from soul power backlash, leading to mental confusion and damaged memories." At that moment, Qian Renshua approached with reddened eyes, cautiously pulling at the corner of Qian Daoliu's clothes. Grandfather, Mommy just asked who I was. Does she really not remember Shuer anymore? Looking at his granddaughter's hopeful eyes, Qian Daoliu's heart stirred slightly. If this is true, then it is simply a blessing from heaven for the spirit hall. The hatred between Bibi Dong and Qian Xuanji is a thorn in Qian Daoliu's heart. Although Bibi Dong has remained indifferent over the years, as if she had completely abandoned the past, he always worried that she would retaliate once her power grew, potentially destabilizing the spirit hall. But a Bibi Dong with the terrifying power of level 96, the talent of twin martial souls, and who has forgotten her hatred, like a blank slate, wouldn't she be the most perfect weapon for the spirit hall, and the most perfect mother for Shuer? Shuer, don't be afraid. Your mother trained too hard, which damaged her mind, and that is why she has temporarily forgotten some things. Although I don't know how to resolve the conflict of twin martial souls, I can still suppress this injury, and save your mother's life. 3 days later, the Saintess Hall's bedchamber. Morning light streamed through the window lattices onto the bed, illuminating Bibi Dong's face, which remained pale but was now conscious. You woman, do you realize we almost perished together? Is that trivial matter really worth risking our lives for? You brought that on yourself. Who gave you the right to steal my body? Also, before, I could regain control just by switching to the soul-eating spider empress. Why didn't it work this time? You lied to me. Obviously, those few times before, it was simply because I didn't want to fight you. Did you really think your meager mental strength could suppress the soul of a 100,000-year soul beast like me? We are now tied together by the same rope. One of us has to make a concession, but you cannot take my concessions as a license to do whatever you please. As I thought, you were plotting against me from the very beginning. Had I known this, I should never have accepted your sacrifice. Even if it took another 10 years, I could have slaughtered you beast with my own hands. She truly regrets it now. She thought it was a win-win deal, but she ended up letting a wolf into the house. This creature not only stole her body, but also tried to interfere with her will, and even used those reasons to disgust her. This feeling of being coerced and powerless is worse than death for someone with her need for control. Regret? Too late. We are tied together now. You might not care if you live, but I certainly don't want to die. I sacrificed 100,000 years of cultivation, and my very life to you, in order to become a god, in order to transcend, not to play some kind of loving mother and child suicide game with you. I care more about your survival than you do. You want to kill Qian Xuanji, you want to hunt soul beasts, and you even want to destroy the world. I have no objection. I could even hand you the knife, but when it comes to the bottom line of safety, I won't budge an inch. Only by making good use of that little girl, and letting her become your talisman, will your upcoming revenge plan have a margin for error. Otherwise, if you fail, that crazy old man Qian Daolu will definitely tear you apart. I said it. I don't need it. Bibi Dong, it's fine to deceive others, but don't deceive yourself. Do you really just not want to use her? You're simply afraid to face her. You know she is innocent. You know half the blood flowing in her veins is yours, but you can't accept the other half, the filthy bloodline of Qian Xuanji. You can't accept her nauseating angelic aura, so you reject her, neglect her, and keep your distance from her, because you're afraid that if you actually get close, you won't be able to stop yourself from killing her, or you won't be able to stop yourself from loving her. Shut up. What? Did I hit the mark? Your refusal of my proposal is nothing more than wanting to keep her out of this. That way, even if she finds out later that you killed Qian Xuanji, she can hate you without any psychological burden, and even kill you to avenge her father with a clear conscience. You want to atone for your sins this way, to satisfy your ridiculous pride. But if she becomes your talisman, the key to saving your life, then when Qian Xuanji dies in the future, she will be an indirect accomplice. You're afraid of dragging her into the mud, afraid to let her bear this sin. I told you to shut up. Having her most secret thoughts exposed, that kind of shame-induced rage, made her wish she could detonate all her soul power immediately, dragging this bastard down to hell with her, wanting to self-destruct. Save it. I told you, your life doesn't just belong to you anymore. Once you've sent me to the divine realm, you can die however you want, but before that, regarding Qian Renshua, there is no room for negotiation. If you don't want to act, I'll do it. If you don't want to touch her, I'll touch her. Coincidentally, this intermittent schizophrenic state of ours, is the best evidence of qi deviation in Qian Daoliu's eyes. When the time comes, even if you stab Qian Xuanji right in front of him, as long as I control the body and act crazy, shouting a few times that I don't know him, for the sake of his granddaughter having a mother, Qian Daolu will likely just grin and bear it. You are shameless. Thanks for the compliment. To tell you the truth, when you rushed into the nest that day, this emperor was already at the end of my rope. If you had acted then, I'm afraid I wouldn't have even had the chance to self-destruct and take you with me. But unfortunately, your stupidity and greed gave me an opportunity. Without this shameless ability, how could this emperor have survived to this day? Just as the two were at each other's throats in the mental world, with neither willing to back down, the door was gently pushed open. A small golden head peeked in cautiously. Qian Renxue was holding a bowl of steaming medicinal porridge, her small face full of worry and longing. Mama, are you awake? Grandpa said you need quiet rest. I made some porridge for you. Bibi Dong's body stiffened instinctively, a chill instantly surfacing in her eyes. However, before she could speak to scold or drive her away, a familiar and maddening sense of dizziness struck again. You took control of Bibi Dong's body, a touch of perfectly timed confusion and innocence in your eyes. Little sister, who are you? Mama, I'm Shuer. I am your daughter. Qian Renshue's hand holding the bowl trembled slightly, her heart filled with both bitterness and wild joy. Bitter that Mama had truly forgotten her, but joyful that if she didn't remember the past, would it mean Mama would also forget her hatred for her? I don't remember. Do I have a daughter? Yes. You do. You were too rushed in your cultivation, and accidentally suffered a qi deviation that damaged your mind. Qian Renxue desperately wanted to prove her existence. She reached out her small hand, wanting to touch her, yet fearing she would be heartlessly pushed away as before. But this time, she wasn't. You just looked at her, somewhat weakly. Come, Mom, have some porridge. Qian Renxue carefully helped you up to lean against the headboard. Then she picked up the medicine bowl beside you, scooped up a spoonful of porridge, gently blew on it and brought it to your lips. Naturally, you went along with it. You opened your mouth and not only drank the porridge, but even showed a warm smile. Thank you, Shuer. This scene instantly broke down all of Qian Renshue's defenses. Tears welled up in her eyes, yet she stubbornly refused to let them fall, fearing she would ruin this hard-won warmth. At the same time, outside the room, Qian Daolu stood silently in the shadows. His vast yet precise spiritual sense covered the entire room, capturing every slight emotional fluctuation inside. If Bibi Dong were faking it, with her bone-deep hatred for Shuer, she could never tolerate Shuer being this close, and even less likely to show such pure confusion. It seems the backlash of the twin martial souls has truly damaged her original memories. Inside the room, the bowl of porridge was soon empty. You licked your lips, feeling unsatisfied. Then you looked up and asked the most fatal question. Shuer, since I am your mother, then who is your father? Where did he go? Why don't I have any memory of him? Qian Renshue's hand, reaching for a handkerchief, suddenly froze in midair. Father, the person her grandfather had repeatedly warned her never to mention. Her small face instantly turned pale. She lowered her head in panic, her fingers tightly twisting the corner of her clothes, stuttering for a long time, unable to speak. Dad, Shuer, don't be afraid. Just act a little sad. Tell her your father is dead. Just as Qian Renxue was at a loss, Qian Daoliu's voice echoed directly in her mind. Although Qian Renxue was a bit dazed, not understanding why she had to wish her father dead, but out of absolute trust in her grandfather, she sniffled, looked up, with an expression as if she were about to burst into tears. Mom, Dad, he has already passed away. Hearing this, you almost couldn't stop yourself from laughing out loud. Good grief, what a display of filial piety. Little girl, this is your own doing. When the day comes that I actually send him away, don't blame it on me. This is just following your golden words. In reality, you were stunned for a moment. Then a look of deep sympathy and apology appeared on your face. You reached out, clumsily yet gently pulling Qian Renxue into your arms, gently patting her back. I'm sorry, Shuer, it's Mom's fault. Mom shouldn't have asked. Seeing this from outside the door, Qian Daoliu's anxious heart finally settled completely. Bibi Dong's hatred for Shuer was rooted entirely in Qian Xuanji. As long as that name doesn't appear, as long as those memories remain sealed, she is still a mother with maternal instincts. This was the result he wanted. At this moment, inside the Saintess Palace bedroom, the real Bibi Dong within the sea of consciousness, watching herself hugging Qian Renxue, felt like sitting on pins and needles. So disgusted she almost vomited. Nan Feng, have you acted enough? Get rid of her. Right now. Immediately. Don't be in such a hurry. The main act has just begun. We have to give Qian Douluo the full performance, to make him convinced that you've truly gone mad, and not that you're faking it. In reality, you seem to remember something. Looking down at Qian Renxue in your arms. Oh, right. Schwer, how did I and your father meet? Qian Renshue's body suddenly stiffened. Outside the door, Qian Douluo also frowned. Bibi Dong's current state is extremely unstable. Her memories are in a stage of fragmentation and reorganization. If she accidentally touches upon certain sensitive words, it could very likely trigger the recovery of her memories. Also, what is your father's name? Why is it that when I try hard to think, my mind remains a complete blank? And what is my name? Schwer, what is your full name? This barrage of questions hit Qian Renxue like rapid fire. She panicked, subconsciously answering the simplest question. You are called Bibi Dong. I am called Qian Renxue. Your gaze gradually became vacant. Then, as if struck by some kind of electric current, her body began to tremble violently. Take control. Your turn. In the sea of consciousness, with a single order from you, control over the body was instantly withdrawn. The real Bibi Dong was forced to take over the body, although she cursed you 10,000 times in her heart. But for that damn plan, she had no choice but to cooperate. Inside the once cozy bedroom, the temperature suddenly plummeted to freezing. Bibi Dong abruptly pushed Qian Renxue away from her arms. Those purple eyes, once confused and gentle, were instantly replaced by a blood-red color, an intent to kill, so thick it was almost tangible, along with the bone-chilling death god domain, erupted without reservation. Qian Xuanji. In this moment, she was no longer that gentle mother, but a Rakshasa demon returning from hell. Qian Renxue had never seen anything like this. She was completely stunned by that terrifying killing intent, slumped on the floor, her face pale as a ghost, forgetting even how to cry. Stop! A golden streak of light instantly burst through the door. Qian Douluo's figure appeared before Qian Renxue as if teleporting. The six-winged angel Marshal's soul released a divine radiance, forcibly blocking back the blood-red killing intent filling the air. Bibi Dong. Qian Douluo's voice, carrying a mental shockwave, pierced straight into Bibi Dong's mind. Under this impact, the red light in Bibi Dong's eyes slowly faded. Her body swayed slightly, leaning weakly against the headboard. Her gaze remained cold, but with a hint more apprehension and respect for the strong. Greetings, High Priest. Qian Douluo looked at her deeply. The suspicion in his heart was finally confirmed. Whether it was the gentleness just now, or the memory loss, it was all just a brief confusion after a cultivation deviation. As long as that name was mentioned, and she was triggered, that hate-filled Bibi Dong would return. What did you just do? I don't remember. I only remember a severe headache. And then I saw her. Bibi Dong pointed to Qian Renxue hiding behind Qian Douluo, a flash of instinctive disgust crossing her eyes. High Priest, I am very tired. I need to rest. Please take her away. I don't want to see her. Far from being angry, Qian Douluo secretly breathed a sigh of relief. This is right. This is the normal. Bibi Dong twisted by hatred. If she had maintained that loving mother-daughter state, Qian Douluo would have suspected she was acting. But this intermittent schizophrenia, one moment gentle and amnesiac, the next moment furious and hateful, was most consistent with cultivation deviation, and the characteristics of a damaged soul. Schwer, let's go. Qian Douluo turned around, picking up the terrified Qian Renxue. Your mother just woke up. Her condition is still unstable. She needs quiet rest. Come see her again once she's better. Qian Renxue leaned on Qian Douluo's shoulder, looking back with tearful eyes. At that cold back turned away from her, her small hand tightly gripping her grandfather's collar. That gentle mother from just now, was it really just an illusion? Dead silence returned to the room. Bibi Dong remained in that side-lying position, until she was sure that divine angel aura had completely vanished. Only then did she breathe a long sigh of relief in her heart. Not a bad performance, especially that little look of disgust. Simply brilliant. Now Qian Douluo probably completely believes you're mentally ill. This is what you wanted. Let him think I'm a lunatic who could explode at any moment. Of course, only lunatics don't need a reason, nor do they need to bear the consequences, because lunatics are uncontrollable. And you also saw Chineseanime's reaction just now. He didn't blame you. He didn't even suspect you. Because in his subconscious, as long as you are truly ill, then the occasional glimpse of that maternal love is a hope he can exploit in his eyes. He will think, as long as your illness is cured, or as long as you aren't triggered, you can become a good mother to Schwer. So as long as you maintain this Schrödinger state, sometimes lucid and hating his whole family, sometimes confused and overflowing with maternal love, then you are absolutely safe in Spirit Hall. Bibi Dong remained silent for a moment. Had to admit, although this old spider's methods are despicable, and he always likes to drag that brat Qianrenxue into this, but his grasp of human nature is indeed terrifyingly precise. So, what's next? Next, of course, is to eat and drink as usual, recover well, and wait for a good opportunity when Qian Douluo is away. That half-dead man lying on the bed should be sent on his way. Over the next few days, Qianrenxue would sneak into the saintess palace from time to time, watching from a distance, even making noise on purpose to pretend she was accidentally discovered. But in reality, she was testing Bibi Dong's reaction. If it was still that cold gaze, she would run away immediately. If a confused look appeared, she would approach. And Bibi Dong played along, alternating her personas. After half a month of this, even Qian Douluo and Golden Crocodile were completely convinced that Bibi Dong had suffered a cultivation deviation, and during this time, Qian Xuanji's injuries had stabilized. Qian Douluo and Golden Crocodile Douluo no longer guarded him every day. Nan Feng, prepare for action. However, the expected response did not come. The sea of consciousness was dead silent. Nan Feng, are you playing dead? I'm thinking about a very serious question. When the cunning rabbit is dead, the hunting dog is cooked. When the birds are gone, the good bough is stored away. The reason we can get along so harmoniously right now is because you want to kill Qian Xuanji, and I can stop you from killing him. So you have no choice but to cooperate with me. But once Qian Xuanji actually kicks the bucket, and your great revenge is avenged, what about me? What do you mean? I mean, you are a woman with a heart too cruel, and no bottom line. Once you lose the target that is Qian Xuanji, will you turn around, and find a way to clear out a parasite like me? After all, I am an uncontrollable factor, right? Bibi Dong remained silent for a moment, then let out a cold laugh. You're overthinking it, I said. As long as you help me become a god, I will lead you to transcendence. This is a deal that is based on the premise of equal strength between both parties. Breaking one's word, killing the donkey once the grain is ground, are the greatest traits of humans. As for human promises, this emperor has never believed a single word. Moreover, after killing Qian Xuanji, your next step will be to open the Rakshasa secret realm, to receive the inheritance of the Rakshasa god. Who knows if Rakshasa has some means to strip me away from your martial soul, or even erase me directly. Bibi Dong's heart sank. This guy is actually this perceptive. She indeed had this intention. No powerful being is willing to let another uncontrollable soul live inside their body. Once Qian Xuanji is killed, and that guy's soul is devoured, and the Rakshasa secret realm is opened, her next target would be this death spider emperor. Since her thoughts were read, Bibi Dong stopped pretending. So, do you plan to keep that beast alive, just to blackmail me? I do have that idea. After all, you can't do anything to me right now. And as long as Qian Xuanji is alive, you won't want to die. Even if you can't become a god, at least you can live another century or so. This emperor will just treat it as a failed investment. You can forget about the Rakshasa secret realm. We'll just spend our lives in this love-hate struggle. Wouldn't that be quite interesting? Bibi Dong's chest heaved with rage, her eyes turning red every single minute and second, just thinking that Qian Xuanji is still alive, still clinging to life in the Pope's palace. She felt as if her whole body was being gnawed by ants. She couldn't wait even one more day. After a long while, Bibi Dong seemed to have been drained of all her strength, leaning despondently against the headboard, the fire in her eyes turning into deep helplessness. Nan Feng, you win. As long as you let me kill Qian Xuanji for revenge, no matter the conditions. I agree. Bibi Dong, you are a smart person. You should understand that the biggest problem between us is a crisis of trust. I don't believe you'll let me go after you become a god, and you don't believe I'll help you wholeheartedly. This kind of suspicion is unsolvable, unless we can solve the possibility of betrayal at its root. What do you mean? A soul-blood covenant. Not a simple parasitism like now, but binding the soul origins of both our sides, truly merging together. This is a forbidden contract originating from ancient soul beasts. Once formed, it will truly be one body, two souls, sharing the same fate of life and death. If I die, your soul will shatter instantly. If you die, I will also be reduced to ashes. Even if you become a god in the future, and try to separate me, your divine soul will suffer irreversible damage, perhaps even falling from the altar of godhood or perishing. Only when the price of killing me becomes unbearable can I believe that you truly won't kill me. Bibi Dong's pupils contracted sharply. This meant she would forever lose absolute control over her own soul, meaning this old spider will truly become an inseparable part of her life. She instinctively wanted to refuse. This is impossible. Then there's nothing to talk about. Anyway, I can't leave my life and death in your hands. Just continue being the saintess here, watching that old man Chineseanime recover from his injuries, and then continue to boss you around. I heard Chineseanime's injuries have been recovering well lately. He'll probably be able to get out of bed in a month or so. Then, guess what? When he discovers an amnesiac Bibi Dong, will he come up with some strange ideas? Oh, Donger, don't you remember me? I am your most beloved master. The room fell into a deathly silence. After a long while, Bibi Dong took a deep breath. A flash of resolute madness crossed her purple eyes. For an avenger, as long as she can drag that man into hell, any price is worth paying, even if it's her soul. Nan Fong, remember your words. If we sign the contract, and you dare hinder my revenge, rest assured, as long as I want to live, I want you to become stronger more than anyone else. After all, you are my host, and my future pillar of support. Come on, open your mind. Don't resist. Deep within the sea of consciousness, the purple-black soul of the Death Spider Emperor slowly approached Bibi Dong's human soul. This time, it was no longer a standoff of mutual suspicion, but a fusion without reservation. In reality, Bibi Dong's body began to tremble violently. Two massive soul forces collided violently within her body together. Then they began to intertwine frantically. Entwine, merge. That feeling was extremely eerie. Not pain, but a feeling of the soul being invaded, and filled with satisfaction. Even someone with a mind as resilient as Bibi Dong's could not help but let out a low moan. Her face flushed. Her hands gripped the edge of the bed tightly. As the last sliver of light faded, Bibi Dong slowly opened her eyes. At this moment, she could clearly feel an indelible mark had appeared deep within her soul. With just a thought, she could perceive your emotions, and vice versa. Done. That's a wrap. Congratulations, little Dong Dong. Now, we really will never leave each other, regardless of life, age, sickness, or death. The corner of Bibi Dong's mouth twitched, automatically filtering out your nonsense. Since the contract is formed, you should fulfill your promise. Of course. But for safety's sake, I have one more plan. Soon, Bibi Dong left the Saintess Hall, heading toward the Pope's palace. She didn't hide her tracks. On the contrary, she came openly. Only, the one controlling this body right now is you. Bibi Dong in the sea of consciousness was somewhat breaking down. If you walk in so brazenly, if Chineseanime is really dead, everyone will know I was the last person to see him. I'll be the prime suspect. Stay calm. Do you think you wouldn't be if you sneaked in? In a major event like Chineseanime's murder, Peak Douluo would suspect you first. No matter how you hide, you are the prime suspect. So we're playing a game of doing the opposite, by me walking over so brazenly like this. Instead, no one will think I'm there to assassinate. They'll just think that mentally unstable saintess is having another episode, wanting to find her teacher or daughter. But once Chineseanime dies, everyone who saw me will become a witness. The evidence will be irrefutable. Even if Peak Douluo wants to turn a blind eye, how could he possibly protect me? Therefore, we need a more influential witness. A witness who can help us create an alibi. And this witness must be someone Peak Douluo trusts absolutely, and someone who would never lie. Are you talking about Chineseanime? Exactly. Lately, Chineseanime has been staying in the side hall of the Pope's palace. Once we enter the bedroom, we'll pull a switch. I'll control your Spider Emperor clone to find Chineseanime, accompany her to watch the stars and the moon, and chat about everything from poetry to philosophy. Meanwhile, your original body will stay in the bedroom, and send Chineseanime on his way. But what if someone finds out? A clone's aura cannot be hidden from the powerful. If it were a previous clone, it indeed couldn't be hidden. But it's different now. We just performed a soul blood pact. My origin power has already permeated your martial soul. Now, the Spider Emperor clone's aura expression, and soul fluctuations, are exactly the same as the original. As long as I don't expose it on purpose, even that old fogey Douluo, unless he inspects it closely face to face, won't be able to see any flaws. Moreover, that old man Douluo, would he dare to expose it? Once Qian Xuanji is dead, you will be the sole hope of the Spirit Hall's younger generation, and Qian Renshua's only relative. Plus, you're about to open the Rakshasa secret realm. Would he dare touch someone suspected of being chosen by the evil god? If he fails, he'll not only lose the future of Spirit Hall, but also implicate his precious granddaughter. Therefore, as long as we give him a way out, even if it's a flimsy one, he'll have to bite the bullet and take it. Bibi Dong was silent for a moment. What on earth are you? What do you mean? What on earth? Everything you've shown far exceeds my understanding of soul beasts. If all 100,000-year soul beasts were as shameless, unscrupulous, cunning, insidious, despicable, and wily as you, humans would almost never be able to hunt such beings. Keep insulting me and, soon, you arrived outside the Pope's bedroom. Seeing it was the Saintess, the guards outside didn't dare stop her. You didn't say a word, and walked quickly inside. Then, the 8th soul ring suddenly lit up. A purple-black light separated from your body, quickly condensing into another Bibi Dong. You immediately injected a part of your soul origin into this clone. Instantly, the previously dull eyes of the clone became lively. You stretched your limbs, a hint of surprise flashing in your eyes. You reached out, gently pinched your own arm, and touched your cheek. That realistic touch, that warm body temperature, and even the faint scent of incense in the air, could be clearly smelled. As expected, after the soul blood pact, this clone had undergone a qualitative change. A strange feeling welled up within her. Alright, stop playing around. Don't delay the main task. Fine, fine, fine. I'll stop messing around. I'll go draw the attention for you. See you tomorrow, little Dong. Enjoy yourself. The garden of the Pope's palace side hall. Qian Renshua snuggled in your arms, her small hand pointing to the brightest star in the night sky, her face beaming with a happiness she'd never known. Mommy, look, that star is so bright. Yes, very bright. You gently rocked the swing, your chin resting on Qian Renshua's soft hair, a gentle smile playing on your lips. Swear, Mommy has always had a question for you. What question? Although I can't remember much of the past, but I vaguely heard the palace maids mention. Your father seems to be the current His Holiness the Pope. Qian Renshua's body suddenly stiffened. Her small hand instinctively gripped your collar. Moreover, isn't His Holiness the Pope still alive and well in the Pope's palace? Why did you tell Mama that day that he was already dead? Qian Renshua panicked. These past few days, in this world, these few days, she had been immersed in the happiness of having a mother, completely forgetting this fatal logical flaw. Grandpa said that Mama must never know that Papa is still alive. Otherwise Mama would return to being that cold and terrifying person again. Mist had already gathered in Qian Renshua's eyes. She clung to that lie almost obsessively. Papa is really dead. He died a long, long time ago. That Pope, he is not my father. It's true. Swear wouldn't lie to Mama. To hold on to this hard-won maternal love, this poor child had to curse her own biological father over and over again. Hearing this conversation from the shadows, Qian Douluo felt a whirlwind of emotions. He sighed, just as he was about to send a telepathic message to Shuer to tell her not to panic. Suddenly, an unprecedented sense of dread struck without warning. That feeling, as if something extremely important, something connected to his bloodline, in this very instant, had completely snapped. Oh no! As an unrivaled Douluo, Qian Daoliu's intuition was incredibly sharp. He whipped his head around toward the Pope's bedroom. Although it seemed peaceful there, in his eyes, there was a faintly visible, extremely evil, and oppressive aura slowly rising. That was Bibi Dong's aura. Qian Daoliu's expression changed drastically, no longer caring about hiding his presence, and not even having time to say goodbye to Qian Renshua. He turned into a streak of golden light, vanishing from the spot instantly. It's okay, it's okay. Don't cry, don't cry. Mama will listen to Shuer. If he's dead, then he's dead. Someone as insignificant as him. It's fine if he's dead. As long as Mama is here, no one can bully Shuer ever again. Sobbing, Qian Renshua buried her small face in your arms. However, at this very moment, she didn't know that the phrase, "It's fine if he's dead," in the Pope's bedroom a few hundred meters away, was becoming a reality in the most brutal way possible. Through the connection of the soul contract, you clearly felt Bibi Dong's emotional fluctuations coming from the other side. It was extreme madness, euphoria, and the relief of a successful revenge. The first ray of morning sunlight pierced through the clouds, falling upon the swing in the side hall garden. Qian Renshue rubbed her sleepy eyes, nuzzling against you in your arms. "Mama, good morning." "Morning." Your voice was incredibly hoarse. Those purple eyes were utterly hollow, and your whole being radiated a hollowed-out exhaustion. Only heaven knows what you went through this night. As a soul entity, you indeed didn't need to sleep, but last night, through the connection of the soul contract, the mental fluctuations coming from Bibi Dong were like an endless mental tsunami. As Bibi Dong killed Qian Xuanji and opened the Rakshasa realm, that malicious intent from the evil god, following the soul contract, poured unrestrainedly into your consciousness. That wasn't ordinary killing intent, but the most primitive, most blunt, and most disgusting malevolence. Tyranny, greed, lust, destruction. Countless crazed voices screamed in your head, infinitely amplifying the darkness suppressed in the depths of your heart. You felt as if you were on the verge of a mental breakdown. Meanwhile, Bibi Dong, at the center of the vortex, not only withstood the impact of this malevolence, but even had the strength to use this power to break through her bottleneck. "Mama, what's wrong? You look so pale." "It's nothing. Mama just had nightmares all night." You forced a smile, reaching out to pat Qian Renshue's head. That feeling of imminent loss of control told you that you had to leave immediately. Otherwise this clone might, due to the mental, unstable and explode on the spot. "Schwer, Mommy is tired, needs to go back and rest for a bit. Then I'll see Mommy off." You stood up, walking quickly out of the courtyard as if fleeing a disaster. "No need, stay here and cultivate obediently. Mommy will come see you another day." Just as you turned the corner of the corridor, confirming you were out of Qian Renshue's sight, the Spider Emperor clone you controlled instantly collapsed, turning into countless purple-black light spots and dissipating into the air. At the same time, your main consciousness instantly crossed space, and plunged back into your main body in the Saintess Hall's bedroom. The originally peaceful consciousness space suddenly rippled violently. A pitch-black, ink-like, space rift emitting a heart-palpitating aura tore open out of thin air. A foot wearing a purple high heel stepped out, followed by a long, slender calf, and a purple robe stained with a faint blood aura, and the aura of the evil god. Bibi Dong is back. At this moment, she was surrounded by faint purple-green mist. Her originally cold and elegant face now looked more bewitching and sinister. Those eyes were as deep as a bottomless abyss. Just making eye contact made one's soul tremble. Having devoured Qian Xuanji, and endured a night of baptism by evil thoughts in the Rakshasa realm, her soul power was not only completely stabilized, but had further advanced, entering the ranks of a level 97 Peak Douluo. How is this power? How my ass? I'm almost driven crazy by the torture. Those evil thoughts in the Rakshasa realm, how did you endure them? I only caught some scraps. My brain is still looping. 100 ways to destroy the world. And 1,000 NSFW images. A flash of pleasure crossed Bibi Dong's originally cold face. Can't handle this already? That's because you have too many stray thoughts, and not enough willpower. As long as the hatred in your heart is pure enough, those chaotic desires cannot shake your mind. However, the power of Rakshasa is indeed too dangerous. I originally planned to start accepting the inheritance now, but looking at it now, it's safer to wait until level 99, and start the divine trial in a complete state. Big sis, why don't we switch to a different inheritance? You're almost crazy after just one night. If we actually start the Rakshasa divine trial later, Bibi Dong can handle it, but you can't. Bibi Dong looked at you lying on the ground wanting to die, and was very pleased. Who told this guy to make some kind of soul blood pact with her? If it were just the accessory state from before, the Rakshasa evil thoughts wouldn't erode this old spider. But now, their souls are fused together. In a sense, this guy has to undergo the trial of the Rakshasa god with her. Thinking of this, Bibi Dong's expression changed. Wait, Nan Fong, get up. If we are one entity during the divine trial, and you collapse, what will happen to me? What do you mean, what will happen? At worst, I'll just go crazy. Become an idiot who can only babble. Anyway, the body is yours. You can deal with it yourself. It's fine if you're crazy. But what about me? The core of the Rakshasa divine trial is a test of mind and will. Once the inheritor is lost in evil thoughts, they are judged as a failure. Their soul will be devoured by the Rakshasa divine power, and become nourishment for the realm. Our souls are connected now. We are truly one body, two souls. In the rules of the Rakshasa god, we are also considered a single entity. If you go crazy, it means half of our soul has lost control. Doesn't that mean I'm doomed too? In that instant, your originally chaotic mind suddenly cleared up significantly. You mean, if I fail the test, I'll drag you down to fail, and then we'll both be eaten by that crazy woman Rakshasa? What do you think? What kind of hell mode co-op dungeon is this? I'm just an accessory wanting to cling to someone powerful. Why do I have to be responsible for this kind of mental exam that drives people insane? Big sis, can we change to a different godhood? Even if I have to climb stairs on the sea god island next door, I'll take it. This Rakshasa god stuff is really not meant for humans. How to change? I have already devoured Chineseanime, and am stained with the ultimate evil and resentment. Which other god would even open an inheritance for me? Moreover, that old fellow, Douluo. If he finds out I've abandoned the Rakshasa inheritance, and lost my status as the successor to the godhood, how long do you think he'll let me survive? Then what should we do? Just from that wave last night, I feel my mental resistance has reached its limit. If it happens a few more times, I can't guarantee I won't go crazy. If I drag you down with me then, don't blame me. Bibi Dong took a deep breath, forcing down the anxiety in her heart. Things have already come to this. Complaining is useless now. Listen, Nan Feng, starting today, you must train with me. I will use the killing intent of the death god domain to stimulate your soul bit by bit and increase your mental resistance. Although the process will be painful, it's better than being swallowed by the Rakshasa god. Also, from now on, every time you enter the Rakshasa realm, you must remain conscious throughout. I will allocate some mental power to protect you, but you'll have to endure the main impact yourself. Endure my foot. Is that even something a human can endure? You have to endure it even if you can't. For my sake, and for your own, you must pull yourself together. Otherwise, while the two were still arguing about the tutoring sessions, a heavy and solemn bell tolled once again. 81 tolls of the funeral bell. The echoes lingering, the entire spirit city fell into a deathly silence of mourning. Bibi Dong turned her head to look out the window. A cold sneer reappeared at the corner of her mouth. It seems, Douluo has already arranged everything. Let's go. My Your Holiness the Pope, since we've already boarded this pirate ship, let's play our parts well for now. As for that damn Rakshasa god's trial, at worst, we'll just torture each other every day, and see who goes crazy first. At this moment, inside the Pope's palace, white banners hung high. The atmosphere was suffocatingly oppressive. A massive coffin was placed in the center of the hall, containing none other than Chineseanime. Bibi Dong, dressed in black mourning clothes, entered the hall with a solemn expression. The atmosphere in the hall was heavy. No one spoke. Golden Crocodile Douluo's gaze immediately locked onto Bibi Dong. Bibi Dong had killed Chineseanime and completely devoured him. Originally, Douluo didn't want to tell anyone about this, but he couldn't bear the pain of losing a son in old age alone. Moreover, Bibi Dong was tainted with a strange aura of an evil god, which made Douluo extremely wary. Additionally, he didn't want Rinshue to become an orphan, so he left at that time, and returned to the angel god temple. Not until this morning, did Douluo bring Golden Crocodile Douluo to cover everything up, shifting all the blame onto Tang Hao and the Clear Sky School. Douluo even planned to let Bibi Dong inherit the position of Pope. This woman's talent and ability had already been seen when she served as the Holy Maiden. Combined with her current strength, her ascension to Pope was a natural progression. It could both stabilize the situation and keep the dangerous element under close watch. Even if Bibi Dong had touched the evil god's inheritance, keeping her occupied with the Pope's affairs could at least slow down the speed of her inheriting that power. Douluo believed Bibi Dong was ambitious. Otherwise, she wouldn't have used such a covert method to kill Chineseanime. Nor would she have stayed in Spirit City after killing him. She also wanted the position of Pope. Atop the high platform, Peak Douluo stood with his hands behind his back. He did not turn around, nor did he want to, facing the murderer of his son right behind him, and having to personally install her as Pope, still left him with an indescribable sense of exhaustion and disgust. Golden Crocodile Douluo glanced at that silent figure, sighing inwardly. Those clouded yet piercing old eyes scanned the crowd. The pressure of a peak level 98 title Douluo descended like a great mountain. Since everyone is here, I shall now announce the great priest's decree. Pope Chineseanime, while upholding the glory of the Spirit Hall, was ambushed by the traitor Tang Hao of the Clear Sky School. Despite all efforts to save him, his essence was damaged, and he unfortunately passed away last night. Despite being mentally prepared, hearing the definitive news of death still made the hearts of the elders sink, their faces clouded with grief. However, a nation cannot be without a ruler for a single day, and the Spirit Hall cannot be without a master. Now is a time of great turmoil, with the Clear Sky School watching like a tiger from without, and the need to stabilize the people within. After deliberation between the great priest and myself, it has been decided that the Holy Maiden, Bibi Dong, from this day forward, she succeeds as the Pope of Spirit Hall. As soon as these words were spoken, the oppressive silence of the hall instantly erupted into chaos. Second priest, isn't this a bit hasty? Although Her Highness the Saintess is naturally gifted, she is still very young. She is not even 30 years old. In the 1,000-year history of Spirit Hall, there has never been such a young pope. Indeed, the position of the pope concerns the rise and fall of Spirit Hall. If a woman under 30 is put in charge, it may be difficult to win the people's trust, and even harder to intimidate the powers of the world. Doubts rose one after another. In their eyes, although Bibi Dong is a genius, she is still just a junior. To let her be the pope, where would we old men save our dignity? Golden Crocodile Douluo neither explained nor grew angry. He simply turned his head, looking at Bibi Dong, who had remained silent. Bibi Dong, it seems everyone doesn't understand your strength well enough. In that case, let them see if you have the qualifications. Bibi Dong nodded slightly, her stunningly beautiful face devoid of expression, only a flicker deep in her eyes, of contempt for these mediocre people. Donger, can you let your big brother handle the flexing here? Get lost. Okay. Bibi Dong took a step forward, a cold and domineering, terrifying aura, as if from the depths of hell, instantly erupted with her at the center. Then, under the horrified gazes of everyone, soul rings slowly rose from beneath her feet. Yellow, yellow, purple, purple, black, 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 black. That was the most standard and perfect soul ring configuration. An 8-ring soul Douluo. She actually, before the words could finish, the voice came to an abrupt halt, because the 9th soul ring rose. It was a vivid, dripping, red, as if nourished by fresh blood. The terrifying blood-red light instantly illuminated the entire dim hall. The imperial pressure of a 100,000-year soul beast ravaged the hearts of every elder without reserve. A 100,000-year soul ring, a titled Douluo. In the face of absolute strength, all seniority and age became a joke. In the world of soul masters, the strong are revered. This is an eternal truth. The Saintess possesses extraordinary talent and outstanding ability, and is the youngest titled Douluo in history. Inheriting the position of Pope is only natural. Golden Crocodile Douluo looked at that dazzling 100,000-year soul ring, a flicker of complexity in his eyes. We pay our respects to Her Holiness the Pope. This time, no one dared to hesitate. Led by several cardinals, everyone knelt on the ground in unison, facing the peerless woman standing in the center of the hall, surrounded by 9 soul rings, performing the highest specification of kneeling salute. Now that the previous pope has passed, the situation is unstable. The coronation ceremony for the new pope shall be kept simple. After today, it shall be announced to the entire continent that the new pope of Spirit Hall has been established. In Golden Crocodile Douluo's cloudy old eyes, 2 cold glints suddenly erupted, staring intently at Bibi Dong. Your Holiness, the Clear Sky sect is arrogant and lawless, and their disciple Tang Hao is even more audacious, having assassinated the previous pope. This is a great humiliation for our Spirit Hall. Now that you have ascended, this matter must not end here. This was Qian Daoliu's intention, and also the stance Spirit Hall must take, even if it is to cover up the truth. Tang Hao must take the fall for this. Rest assured, second priest. The grudge of killing my master is irreconcilable. I shall immediately order a continent-wide manhunt for Tang Hao. Anyone who harbors him shall be guilty as the Clear Sky sect. As for the Clear Sky sect, since they produced such a fine disciple, they must be prepared to endure the wrath of Spirit Hall. This blood debt, I will make them pay back 1,000 times over. With Golden Crocodile Douluo's order, although the crowd had mixed emotions, they dared not linger, paying their respects and withdrawing one by one. The vast hall, in the blink of an eye, only the high-hanging white banners remained. That empty, luxurious coffin, and that lonely figure, with their back to the door. Golden Crocodile, tell me, did I do something wrong? During this time, to keep Bibi Dong stable, to stop her from going crazy, I had Shuer lie and say her father was already dead. But now, Xuanji is actually dead. If Shuer wakes up and finds out about all this, what will she think? Will she feel that her lie came true? That she was the one who killed her father? Before the death knell told, Qian Daolu used his soul power to put Qian Renxue into a deep sleep, and ordered the light feather Douluo immediately to take her back to the depths of the Temple of Enshrinement, isolating her from all external sounds. This is a form of protection, and also a form of avoidance. High Priest, Shuer is the young master of the Angel clan. Since she was born in the Spirit Hall, born into this position, some pain is something she must endure. 9 years old, she's not that young. Back in the day, at that age, we were already fighting for survival in the Soul Beast Forest. Better a short pain than a long one. If we hide it from her now, and she finds out the truth from others later, it will only be more painful. I can't bring myself to say it. Golden Crocodile, you go and tell her the news. I will go to the Douluo Hall to arrange the funeral for Xuanji. On the other side, the Saintess Palace, Bibi Dong dismissed her attendants, and returned to her bedroom alone. As the heavy doors slowly closed, the majesty and coldness she maintained before others vanished instantly. A purple-black light emerged from her body, instantly condensing into that peerless Spider Empress clone. Acting these past few days has left my back and waist aching, especially last night, being assaulted by those Rakshasa evil thoughts all night. My brain almost boiled. You comfortably rubbed against the pillow. The veins on Bibi Dong's forehead twitched slightly, but she ultimately resisted the urge to kick you off. Last night, when that old man Qian Daolu rushed in, did he see anything stimulating? For example, you were dining. I saw, when he rushed in, Qian Xuanji had already stopped breathing. In that moment, I could clearly feel the killing intent erupting from him. That was a rage that wanted to tear me apart. But as you expected, for just a moment, he held it back. Especially after I opened the Rakshasa realm, he disappeared. Ha ha ha. I knew it. This old man has served the angel god his whole life. His awe of the gods is carved into his bones. Facing an evil god like Rakshasa, he really didn't dare to gamble. However, although Qian Daolu endured it, that old fellow Golden Crocodile Douluo probably won't be so easy to deal with. Just now in the hall, the way he looked at me, he wanted to swallow me alive. Golden Crocodile is Qian Daoliu's die-hard loyalist, and the most loyal dog of the six-winged angel family. Although he is now forced to acknowledge my succession, but he will definitely obstruct me at every turn. Trip me up. A level 98 Peak Douluo, plus his century-long prestige in the Spirit Hall. If he is determined to make things difficult for me, this position of Pope, I'm afraid I won't be able to hold it steadily. What's there to fear? If that old crocodile dares to trip you up, I'll control this clone to throw a tantrum at the door of the Elders' Hall, or simply cling to his leg and wail for my parents, asking him why he's bullying a widow and orphan. I don't believe that his old face could handle the shame, that he'd have the nerve to argue with a lunatic. No, now I am the Pope. I represent the face of the Spirit Hall. If the whole world finds out that the new Pope of the Spirit Hall is someone who can go crazy at any time, a shrew with no dignity, then my time as Pope would be over. I would even become a laughingstock for the two great empires and the top 3 sects. True, once you're a leader, you have to maintain an air of authority. You can't be too informal. If the Pope is a psychopath, this team really wouldn't be easy to lead. In that case, then we'll go crazy separately. Anyway, now that this Spider Empress clone is bound by a soul blood contract, almost identical to your original body, and the strength is a solid level 97. Next, let's find a suitable opportunity. In full view of everyone, let everyone see that there are actually 2 Bibi Dongs. One is noble and cold, the rational and than normal original Pope. The other is a clone with independent consciousness caused by chi deviation, and missing memories, with an eccentric personality. This way, you'll not only have an alibi, but be safer. Moreover, all the blame can be shifted to this uncontrollable clone. How can this work? If the Spider Empress clone can act independently, wouldn't that be equivalent to exposing my trump card? Your trump card is the inheritance of the Rakshasa god, the Rakshasa realm that can devour everything. Other than that, nothing else is a trump card. They're called tools. Little Dong, wake up. You've been under house arrest by Chineseanime for so many years. Aside from the empty title of saintess, do you have any foundation in the spirit hall? The elder hall listens to Chineseanime. The powerful elders look to Golden Crocodile. Even the platinum bishops below, most were promoted by Chineseanime. You're currently a leader without an army. If you want to secure the position of Pope, just giving orders is useless. Some things the Pope cannot conveniently do, or things that must remain in the shadows. Someone has to do them. Let this amnesiac clone of mine stand in the open, and become the blade in your hand. Are you sure you're not just doing this to cause trouble openly? Little Dong, what are you saying? I'm doing this all to help you. Your words are indeed piercing, but for two of me to appear at once, such a thing is too inconceivable. How do I explain this to the elder hall? How do I make the world believe it? You are the Pope. Who do you need to explain to? When people ask, you just put on a look of helplessness and say, oh dear, I am quite desperate myself. Since the last chi deviation, this 8th soul skill mutated. This clone has its own ideas and runs around. I can't even control her. Bibi Dong looked at the person in front of her with her own face, yet smiling like an old fox. She felt a chill run down her spine. This plan was too perfect, but it was precisely because it was too perfect that she felt afraid. Seeing Bibi Dong staring blankly, he couldn't help but raise an eyebrow. What? Are you impressed by my wisdom? Do you suddenly feel that having a strategist like me by your side is the greatest luck of your life? Perhaps, but I feel more that this is like some kind of slow-acting poison. Nan Fong, can you tell me, was this really a spontaneous idea? From the moment you offered the sacrifice in the Death Valley, was all of this part of your calculation? Back then, I thought I was the hunter in control of everything, and you were just my prey, my soul ring. As a result, not only did you not die, but you merged into my Death Spider Empress martial soul, seizing half of my body's control. That was the first step. Returning to Spirit City, you used Chineseanime's affairs to create panic, even going so far as to provoke me, forcing me, for the sake of revenge, to agree to sign a soul-blood contract with you, completely merging your soul origin into mine. That was the second step. Now, you've proposed this so-called clone plan, to let yourself appear openly and legitimately, even possessing the power to enforce the law. What else do you want? To completely possess me, or turn me into your puppet? Although I hate to admit it, I have to say, Nan Fong, I'm afraid of you. Donger, the way you put it, is like stabbing me right in the heart. We are now one in heart and body, partners sharing life and death. How could you think of me so darkly? My loyalty to you is as clear as the sun and moon. I can swear on my conscience that I've never thought of harming you. To show sincerity, he reached out and solemnly pressed his hand on his chest. It's just that since you are currently a clone, so that hand, very naturally, and precisely landed on Bibi Dong's original body, right on those breathtaking breasts. The air froze in that instant. Bibi Dong looked down at the paw covering her chest, which was still applying a slight pressure. Veins popped up one by one on her forehead. Take your paw off me right now. I was just touching your conscience. Is it really necessary to get this angry? However, Bibi Dong didn't immediately deactivate her soul skill, nor did she forcibly shove you back into the sea of consciousness. This meant she tacitly agreed to that crazy clone plan. You stretched your limbs, and strolled into the garden with an arrogant gait. No cultivating, no working, just eating, drinking, and basking in the sun every day, occasionally shifting the blame onto that powerhouse Bibi Dong. This is the retirement life I've always dreamed of. Just as you were about to pop a pastry into your mouth, and enjoy this rare moment of slacking off, you suddenly froze. A surge of soul power as piercing as a winter wind, accompanied by a naive yet divine angelic aura, abruptly entered the perception range of the Saintess Hall. Just clocked out and now I'm back on the clock. Even a farm donkey wouldn't be worked this hard. Her biological father just died, and instead of mourning at the funeral hall, she comes to me, the stepmother, for comfort. I want a vacation too. Why do I have to work overtime to babysit? Although you were completely unwilling in your heart, for the sake of the big picture and your own life, you adjusted your sitting position. You didn't stand up to greet her, but remained lazily leaning back in the rocking chair. Only your expression shifted from a lazy slump, instantly to one with a hint of confusion, and a touch of tenderness, in loving mother mode. Seeing this, Qian Renshue's heart, which had been anxious, settled halfway. If it were that cold, real mother who hated her, she would never show such a relaxed demeanor. Only the gentle, amnesiac new mother would be this carefree. Shuer, why are you here? What are you hiding there for? Hearing this familiar, gentle voice, the final line of defense in Qian Renshue's heart completely collapsed. No longer caring about tests or etiquette, she stumbled out of the bushes on her short legs, and dove straight into your arms. Tears streamed down her face like broken pearls. Just now, her second grandfather told her that her father was dead, and had already been buried. She didn't even get to see him one last time, nor was there anything left to remember him by. She wanted to cry and complain, wanted to tell her mother that her father was gone, wanted to say how sad she was, but as the words reached her lips, she forced herself to swallow them back. No one bullied me. I just missed you, Mommy. Silly child. Mommy has always been right here, and isn't going anywhere. You pulled Qian Renshua back into your embrace, resting your chin on top of her head, while your gaze looked over the garden wall, toward a figure hidden in the shadows in the distance. At this moment, Guangling did not approach. He was crouching on the branch of a tall parasol tree, his single eye closely watching every move in the garden. The divine bow of Guangling in his hand flickered in and out of sight, clearly in a state of high alert. If Bibi Dong showed the slightest sign of something wrong, or any hint of wanting to harm Qian Renshue, he would immediately step in to save her. There, stop crying. You stroked Qian Renshue's smooth golden hair, a loving mother's smile on your face. But your consciousness had already silently slipped into the sea of consciousness, connecting directly to Bibi Dong in the bedroom. Little Dong, stop playing dead. Come out and get to work. Nan Feng, what do you want now? Can't you see I'm cultivating? Cultivating my ass. There's something more important right now. Get out here quickly. Let's put on a big show. If we play this part well, I'll be able to do whatever I want in the spirit hall. No, I am the Pope now. I represent the face of the spirit hall. Fine. You're not coming out, huh? Then I'll just bring Qian Renshue in there. Who knows? I might even use your body to cause some trouble. You dare. See if I dare. Give me a straight answer. Do you come out, or do I go in? Play what? Simple. In a moment, you come out, and we'll have a chance encounter. Then you act shocked, and I'll act shocked too. Then, without another word, we'll start fighting immediately. And it has to be a real fight. The bigger the commotion, the better. Ideally, we'll lure that old guy Qian Douluo here. Once the audience is in place, you'll shatter this clone of mine in one move. Then, you just roll your eyes back, and faint. Are you crazy? I've just ascended as the Pope, and this is exactly when I need to establish my authority. If I fight my own clone in full view of everyone, and then faint, how will the elders see me? They'll just think I'm mentally unstable, and unfit for the position. That's where you're wrong. It's precisely because you're the Pope, that you need to show you're unpredictable. Why did Qian Douluo let you be the Pope? It's because he's afraid that you, tainted by the evil god's aura, a madwoman, will plot things in the shadows. So he wants to keep you in the open, using the responsibilities and power of the Pope to bind you, keeping you locked within his sight. Since that's the case, let's give him exactly what he wants, and throw in a little extra. Let him see that not only are you mentally unstable, but your soul skills have also mutated, and have even developed an independent personality. This personality is also extremely protective, especially towards Qian Renshue. This way, any outrageous thing I do with the clone in the future will have a perfect excuse, and you only need to faint or lose your memory at critical moments to shift the blame perfectly. This is called double insurance. If something goes wrong, be prepared to hide in the Rakshasa realm and go crazy with me. In the garden, after you've comforted Qian Renshue, stand up and take her little hand. Shuer, Mommy just remembered there's something to handle. Let's go back to the palace, okay? Qian Renshua nods obediently. Now, as long as she can be with her mother, she's willing to go anywhere. The two walk through the corridor, and just as they reach the palace entrance, the heavy doors suddenly open from the inside. Dressed in black casual attire, a frost-faced Bibi Dong happens to step out. Their eyes meet, and the air seems to freeze in that instant. Who are you? Why are you impersonating me? Presumptuous. I am the Pope of Spirit Hall. You monster. How dare you take my form? Bibi Dong's soul power surges instantly, a purple-black aura of death sweeping out like a storm. Qian Renshua is completely stunned. Two mothers, and they want to fight the moment they meet. Dare to hurt Shuer, and I'll fight you to the death. You're courting death. Two terrifying forces collide violently in front of the Saintess Hall. The entire hall trembles violently under the shockwave. Countless tiles fly off, and dust rises everywhere. Guangling Douluo, who had been guarding from afar, is startled by this sudden turn of events. He instantly transforms into a streak of light and rushes over. When he sees the two Bibi Dongs fighting fiercely in the dust, he is completely bewildered. Am I seeing things? Why are there two Bibi Dongs? And why are they fighting so viciously? Bibi Dong, what is going on here? Guangling wants to intervene, but the two are fighting too intensely, and both have the same face, and the exact same aura. For a moment, he doesn't know who to help. Take Shuer and leave. Hurry, you shout loudly toward Guangling, then charge toward Bibi Dong without hesitation. Guangling Douluo wouldn't dare delay. With a flash, he instantly catches the pushed-back Qian Renshua. The divine bow of Guangling opens instantly, a light blue shield protecting them both within. Grandpa Guangling, what on earth is happening? I don't know either. In just a few breaths, most of the Saintess Hall's garden has been destroyed. The massive commotion instantly alerts the entire Pope's palace. From the direction of the enshrined hall on the mountain top, two terrifying auras soar into the sky. Qian Daolu and Golden Crocodile Douluo rush to the scene at top speed. When they see those two who look exactly alike, and are engaged in a life-and-death struggle, they are both stunned. This is a clone? No, that clone has a physical body, consciousness, and even soul fluctuations. What is going on? Now that everyone has arrived, a flash of ruthlessness crossed Bibi Dong's eyes. Die. 8th soul skill. Spider Emperor clone. But this time, she isn't summoning a clone, but detonating it, because your body is essentially a product of the 8th soul skill. The original body holds absolute control. Shatter for me. How is this possible? Your body suddenly stiffened, a look of pain and disbelief appearing on your face. The next second, your body exploded violently in full view of everyone, turning into a sky full of purple-black light particles, which surged back into Bibi Dong's body. Ah, no, get out. I am the Pope. I am Bibi Dong. Shuer. Bibi Dong let out a painful scream, clutching her head with both hands, as if her entire being was splitting apart. Her voice switched frantically between coldness and tenderness, and her eyes flickered between purple-green and a clear purple. Finally, Bibi Dong's body went limp, and she completely fainted. Qian Daolu, Golden Crocodile, Guangling, and Qian Renshua, who was crying her eyes out, all stared blankly at this scene. After a long while, Qian Daolu took a deep breath, his expression incredibly complex. It seems her illness is more severe than we imagined. At this moment, the gardens of the Saintess Palace were in ruins. A complete mess. A total mess. Qian Daolu stood with his hands behind his back, staring intently as Bibi Dong was carried inside, his expression grave to the extreme. Golden Crocodile Douluo stood beside him, asking via spiritual transmission, High Priest, were those two really both Bibi Dong? Qian Daolu took a deep breath, a flash of deep apprehension in his eyes. Yes, last night, when I sensed something happen to Sun Ji, I saw one of the Bibi Dongs with my own eyes, holding Shuer and gazing at the stars. But when I rushed into the Pope's bedroom, another Bibi Dong was devouring Sun Ji. At the time, I also found it inconceivable, and I couldn't figure out how this woman did it. Now it seems, this isn't a typical twin martial soul backlash. Golden Crocodile. Did you notice just now? What? That clone shattered by Bibi Dong, although it could use soul power, and its physical body had reached level 97, but it had no soul rings, nor did it use soul bone abilities. This fits the characteristics of a soul skill clone. However, even with a soul skill mutation, it's impossible to have such complete soul soul fluctuations, or even an independent personality and memories. To this extent, even I cannot tell the real from the fake. The only explanation must be that evil god inheritance she encountered. Other than a god, I can't think of any power capable of this. That so-called clone is likely a result of Bibi Dong's cultivation deviation, or the erosion of the evil god's power, creating a split personality with amnesia. She placed her love for Shuer, and her confusion about the past, all within that clone. As for her original self, Xian Daolu didn't continue, but the meaning was already clear. The original is a madwoman consumed by hatred and evil thoughts. Brother, what do we do now? A schizophrenic, a pope who could lose control at any moment. If this gets out, will the spirit hall have any dignity left? Furthermore, what if she suddenly goes mad during an important occasion, or that clone comes out to cause trouble again? I know, but we have no choice. Golden crocodile, have you considered, if we strip her of the pope's position now, and force her out of the spirit hall, given her current strength and that evil god inheritance, where do you think she would go? The slaughter city? Or find some deep mountain forest to meditate, fully accept the evil god's inheritance, and become a true evil god? When that happens, a madwoman hiding in the shadows, a lunatic with twin martial souls and god-level power, who spends her days plotting revenge against the spirit hall. Would you be able to sleep? Golden crocodile Douluo fell silent. Indeed, compared to an uncontrollable threat in the shadows, one that is out in the open, a pope watched by countless eyes, is clearly much safer. Therefore, whether she has a split personality or not, she must become the pope, only by placing her in the position of pope, keeping her occupied with 1,000 tasks, letting her be bogged down by mundane affairs, keeping her under our constant surveillance, is the safest way. Moreover, that clone, that spark of kindness, might be the key to controlling her. As long as Shuer can still awaken that clone, as long as she still has feelings for Shuer, this blade will not spiral completely out of control. The saint's palace bedroom. Bibi Dong lay quietly on the bed. Her breathing was steady, but her brow was tightly furrowed, as if experiencing some painful struggle in her dreams. Xian Renshua knelt by the bedside, her small hands tightly gripping one of Bibi Dong's, her eyes red and swollen, staring at her mother's face without blinking. She feared that once her mother woke up, she'd return to that cold self, feared that the gentle one from before, the new mother who fought desperately to protect her, would never return. And beneath this loving mother-daughter scene, within the sea of consciousness, a highly unprofessional review meeting was taking place. That fight just now had a great effect. Those old fogies were all stunned. Now it's perfect. The persona is fully established. According to your prediction, that old fox Qian Daolu should have fallen for the trap by now, right? Absolutely. If all goes as planned, he must be imagining a drama of dual natures, good and evil, a grand play of the evil god's backlash. In his eyes, you are now a dangerous object that could spiral out of control at any moment, and that amnesiac clone is the chain holding back the beast that is you. Therefore, he will definitely come to confront you next. Remember, when you wake up later, you must act like, who am I? Where am I? The confusion of, what just happened? You have to tell him, that you have no idea when that clone appeared, that you were clearly in secluded cultivation in the palace. And here is the key part. You say, that during the fight, you subconsciously tried to activate the 8th spirit skill, Spider Emperor clone, but then discovered, that the imposter fighting you, was actually your out-of-control 8th spirit skill. This absurdity of fighting yourself, you must act it out. The more innocent, the better. The more broken, the better. Half an hour later, the palace doors were gently pushed open. Xian Daolu walked in alone. Shuer, go outside for a moment. Grandfather has some things to ask your mother. Grandfather, Mom won't turn back into that way, will she? She won't. Grandfather will help cure your mother. Go on. Grandpa Golden Crocodile is waiting for you outside. Only then did Xian Renshue reluctantly let go of Bibi Dong's hand. Walking out, looking back every few steps. As the doors closed again, the gentleness on Qian Daoliu's face vanished instantly, replaced by a deep solemnity. He walked to the bedside, looking down at Bibi Dong. Those golden eyes, which seemed to pierce the soul, narrowed slightly. Stop pretending to be asleep. I know you're awake. Bibi Dong on the bed slowly opened her eyes. In those purple eyes, the previous madness and chaos were gone. Nor was there that eerie tenderness. Only bottomless indifference and exhaustion. She propped herself up, sitting up with some difficulty, without bowing, simply rubbing her throbbing temples. Is the high priest here to gloat? The dignified new pope, fighting her own clone in front of her own door until everything went dark, and even knocking herself unconscious. This is indeed a huge joke. Bibi Dong's hand paused slightly, then gave a self-deprecating smile. Yes, I think it's quite ridiculous too. Bibi Dong, tell me, what exactly is going on with that clone? Bibi Dong shook her head, her eyes showing just the right amount of confusion and irritation. She said the words that had just been instructed. Hearing this, the last shred of doubt in Qian Daoliu's heart vanished. As expected, she doesn't even know herself. This really is a spirit skill mutation caused by the erosion of the evil god's power, or even a soul split. Can you actively activate the Spider Emperor clone, and release that special clone? Bibi Dong's hand on the quilt tightened slightly. Her eyes flickered with uncertainty. What? Can't you do it? I'll try, but I can't guarantee if I can control her. That thing is very dangerous. No matter, with me here, she won't be able to cause any trouble. Just go ahead and do it. Alright. Bibi Dong slowly closed her eyes. Soul power began to surge around her. 8th soul skill, Spider Emperor clone. As that deep black soul ring lit up, a purple-black shadow separated from Bibi Dong's body like a ghost, quickly taking shape in the open space before the bed. As the light faded, another Bibi Dong, dressed in the Pope's robes, appeared. As soon as you landed, your eyes were first filled with confusion, rubbing your eyes as if you had just woken up. However, when your gaze swept across the room, and finally landed on the original Bibi Dong, who sat leaning against the headboard with a cold expression, that confusion vanished instantly. It was replaced by a reaction like a beast encountering its natural enemy. You again, accompanied by a sharp screech. The Death Spider Emperor martial soul instantly possessed her. 8 giant spider spears, sharp as amethyst, carrying a nauseating aura of death, burst violently from the spine on your back, swinging through the air, leaving afterimages. Imposter. Die. Impudent. An old yet majestic shout suddenly rang out. Qian Daolu didn't even use his martial soul. He simply took one step forward. The terrifying pressure of a level 99 peerless Douluo crashed down like Mount Tai. The air in the entire bedroom seemed, in that instant, to freeze into blocks of iron. Your originally unstoppable charge, before this absolute power, was frozen dead in midair. The 8 spider spears trembled violently, making creaking sounds under the immense pressure, yet unable to move an inch. You turned your head with difficulty, those heterochromatic purple and green pupils staring intently at Qian Daolu. Far from showing fear, they were instead filled with violence and arrogance. Where did this old geezer come from, daring to interfere in my business? Believe it or not, I'll pluck out every last hair you have left. On Qian Daoliu's originally calm face, his expression instantly froze. He had lived for over 100 years. As the great priest of Spirit Hall, one of the 3 peerless Douluos of the age, who didn't treat him with utmost respect. Even Tang Chen back then, had never used such vulgar words to insult him. Is this really Bibi Dong's clone? Why is her personality like a street thug? Just as Qian Daolu was stunned by the insults, the doors of the bedroom were burst open. Qian Renxue, who had been waiting anxiously outside, sensed the terrifying soul power fluctuations erupting inside, thinking something had happened to her mother, and rushed in recklessly. The golden crocodile Douluo and the light feather Douluo also followed closely with tense expressions, fearing these 2 ancestors would start a real fight, and injure Qian Renxue. However, when they rushed into the room, and saw the scene inside, they were all stunned. Sitting on the bed was a cold-faced Bibi Dong with a superior air, and standing on the floor was a Bibi Dong with 8 legs on her back, a fierce look on her face, confronting the great priest. Qian Renxue looked at these 2 completely different mothers, her small face turning pale, her eyes full of terror and helplessness. Mommy. Driven by instinct, Qian Renxue's gaze turned toward the one on the bed. That was the mother she knew. Hearing the call, the Bibi Dong on the bed turned her head slightly. Those purple eyes coldly swept over Qian Renxue, a flash of extremely complex emotion crossing them. In the end, she simply withdrew her gaze coldly, without saying a word. That ice-cold distance, made Qian Renshue's heart instantly sink. But just then, the fierce Bibi Dong who was confronting Qian Douluo. The moment she saw Qian Renshue, the violence in her eyes mostly vanished. "Shuer, be careful." You suddenly broke free from Qian Douluo's pressure, your figure flashing, instantly blocking the way in front of Qian Renshue. "Shuer, quick! Hide behind mommy. There's an imposter pretending to be me here. And an old bastard who bullies women. They're in cahoots. Don't be afraid. As long as mommy is still breathing, no one will touch a single hair on your head." Qian Douluo, Golden Crocodile Douluo, Light Feather Douluo. 3 old geezers who together are over 300 years old, watching that woman who was flailing her arms, speaking foully, yet protecting Qian Renshue like a mother hen protecting her chick, Bibi Dong. For a moment, they didn't know what expression to make, especially Qian Douluo. The corner of his eye couldn't stop twitching, but this seemed to further confirm his suspicion. Although this persona is crude, rude, and even a bit manic, her love for Shuer is real. "Mommy, please don't be like this. He's not an old bastard. He is Shuer's own grandfather." The fierce aura around you paused slightly. The 8 spider spears behind your back stopped waving, tilting your head. You looked Qian Douluo up and down, then revealed an expression of sudden realization that was incredibly punchable. "So you're the biological father of Shuer's worthless dog of a father. The son isn't exactly a decent man. Seems the father didn't teach him well either. I guess the apple doesn't fall far from the tree." The scene fell silent once again. Golden Crocodile Douluo's mouth twitched frantically. Light Feather Douluo almost choked on his own saliva. Qian Douluo's face was as black as the bottom of a pot. That woman who was once noble and cold, Bibi Dong, who maintained her saintly poise even at her lowest. Even if she lost her memory, or had a split personality, she couldn't have turned into this sort of mess, right? Enough. Qian Douluo took a deep breath, forcibly suppressing the urge in his heart to slap this woman to death. He glanced at the indifferent Bibi Dong on the bed, who looked as if none of this concerned her, and became more convinced of the split personality theory. "Golden Crocodile, take her to the side hall, and take Shuer as well." "I'm not leaving." "Trying to steal Shuer away from me? No way." "Mommy, it's okay. Grandpa Golden Crocodile isn't a bad person. We're just going to the next room, not anywhere else." Under Qian Renshue's gentle persuasion, you reluctantly retracted the spider spears, but still gave Qian Douluo a fierce glare. Then, holding Qian Renshue's hand, you swaggered out following Golden Crocodile. After they left, Qian Douluo looked deeply at the Bibi Dong on the bed. "Take care of yourself," leaving those meaningful words behind. Qian Douluo vanished in a flash, and also left the bedroom, side hall of the Pope's palace. You sat in the main seat holding Qian Renshue, staring intently at Golden Crocodile Douluo and Light Feather Douluo at the door. That look was like guarding against thieves. "What are you looking at? Never seen a beauty before?" Golden Crocodile Douluo's old face darkened. He simply closed his eyes and turned away. Light Feather, however, was intrigued, observing this peculiar Bibi Dong. Although this personality isn't very bright, she's at least more pleasant to look at than the cold one. Just then, a golden light flashed, and Qian Douluo's figure appeared out of thin air in the hall. "Golden Crocodile, Light Feather, you two leave first. Shuer, you leave too." "I won't." Before Qian Renshue could speak, you exploded first, trying to send Shuer away. "So you can bully a weak woman like me? You old geezer. I can hear your schemes from 3 miles away." The veins on Qian Douluo's forehead throbbed. "With that posture of almost ripping off the roof just now, where does she look like a weak woman?" "Shuer, Grandpa has some things regarding your mother's condition that he wants to confirm privately. Grandpa promises you, he will absolutely not hurt her." "Mommy, Grandpa's word is his bond. Just let Shuer go out for a while, okay? I'll be right at the door. If Mommy calls me, I'll rush right back in." Looking at Qian Renshue's pleading eyes, the fierce light in your eyes finally faded bit by bit, replaced by a look of reluctance and grievance. "Fine then." Qian Renshue walked out, looking back every few steps. As Golden Crocodile and Light Feather closed the doors, the atmosphere changed completely in an instant. Qian Douluo's calm gaze instantly became sharp as a blade. A holy and vast aura slowly rose from within his body. "What on earth are you? Are you Bibi Dong's benevolent side, or the evil god's trickery? You old bastard. Stop acting so smug here." Qian Douluo frowned. He had no patience for nonsense with this crazed personality. He had to uncover the essence of this clone, and whether there was a hidden, evil power within her that could threaten Shuer. Qian Daolu suddenly took a step forward. In an instant, the entire side hall was swallowed by a dazzling golden light. This was no longer simple soul power pressure, but a higher level of power that made the soul tremble. Angelic God power. A massive six-winged angel phantom emerged behind Qian Daolu. That holy radiance instantly enveloped you. Angel domain. Full release. What the hell is this? Your expression changed drastically. Your level 97 power, within this golden light, actually softened rapidly, like melting snow. The surrounding space seemed to turn into indestructible amber, binding you tightly in place, unable to move even a single finger. Let me go, you old bastard. What do you want to do? Be quiet. Let me see deep within your soul. What exactly is hidden there? However, to Qian Daoliu's shock, as the angelic god power penetrated deep within the soul of this clone, there was no aura of the evil god as he had imagined, nor were there any traces of external possession. The soul origin perfectly matched Bibi Dong's fluctuations. Same root, same source, inseparable. Qian Daoliu's brow furrowed. The doubts in his heart were not dispelled, but instead grew stronger. If it were a split personality, why would there be such a complete consciousness, such an independent personality? Even deep within the soul of this clone, he felt an even purer and more ancient life aura. What exactly is this? Just as Qian Daolu wanted to probe further, you were completely enraged. Old bastard, have you seen enough? A purple-black aura of destruction suddenly erupted from your body. This physical body with the strength of a level 97 titled Douluo was detonated by you in this instant without hesitation. Not good. Qian Daoliu's expression changed drastically. This was the self-destruction of a level 97 energy body. If it exploded completely in such a small space, it would be enough to level this side hall, and even affect Qian Renxue outside. Angel domain. Suppress. Qian Daolu dared not delay. The light of the six-winged angel phantom behind him surged. Under the absolute suppression of the angelic god power, that terrifying self-destruction energy did not cause catastrophic destruction. It only produced a muffled sound, then turned into a sky full of purple-black light spots, dissipating completely within this golden domain. However, although the noise was suppressed, that terrifying fluctuation that erupted instantly still spread out. Mama. Outside the hall doors, Qian Renxue, who had been eavesdropping through the crack, felt the commotion inside, and completely panicked. The doors were violently pushed open. Qian Renxue rushed in recklessly. Jinyi and Guangling followed closely behind. However, when they saw the scene inside the hall, they were all stunned. In the empty hall, only Qian Daolu was floating in midair, surrounded by holy golden light, and the Bibi Dong, who was just flailing, refusing to let go of Qian Renxue, was gone. Not even a single strand of hair remained. Qian Renxue looked at the empty seat. Her little face instantly turned pale. Grandpa, where is Mama? Qian Daolu withdrew the angel domain, slowly landing. Looking at his granddaughter's terrified and desperate eyes, he opened his mouth, not knowing what to say. Could he possibly say that your mother just lost her mind and blew herself up in front of me? While Qian Daolu was still hesitating, Qian Renxue's tears already burst forth. Grandpa, what did you do to Mama? You promised me you wouldn't hurt her. I want Mama. Give Mama back to me. Swear. Listen to Grandpa's explanation. I won't. You lost Mommy. I want Mommy. On the other side, Bibi Dong's original body still lay quietly on the bed, seemingly still unconscious. But her consciousness had already sunk deep into the sea of spirit. In the center of this world, there stood a palace entirely constructed from spiritual power. You just copied her Saintess Palace bedroom and made a room for yourself. Bibi Dong's consciousness materialized. She pushed open the door and entered. On that large bed, a purple humanoid silhouette stood with its back to her, curled up in the corner, emanating an aura known as a mixture of autism and mania. Since the soul blood covenant, your soul form was no longer just that hideous death spider emperor, but could also become this blurry humanoid silhouette. What on earth is wrong with you? Why did you suddenly self-destruct your clone? Did Qian Daolu find something out? You remained motionless with your back to her, offering no response. Bibi Dong grew impatient. She reached out to pat your shoulder. Nan Feng, I'm asking you, don't touch me. This emperor is filthy right now. What madness is this? That was a clone. If it blew up, it blew up. It didn't hurt your origin. Where are you, filthy? You don't know a damn thing. That old geezer, that old pervert. He actually used angel divine power to forcibly invade my clone. That feeling. Do you know how disgusting it was? I am the Death Spider Emperor. The most and evil soul beast. That angel divine power is like boiling shit to me. He actually shoved that thing into my head. That hypocrisy. Blinding, scalding power of light. Raging wildly within my soul. Prying indiscriminately. I feel like I was violated by that old pervert. Bibi Dong's expression flickered. She could feel your current emotions. It was a feeling of being oppressed by a superior power. The rage and helplessness of having one's dignity trampled. She was all too familiar with this feeling. So familiar that in this instant, she actually felt a sliver of empathetic resonance with you. So you self-destructed just for that? Otherwise what? Was I supposed to just lie there and let him finish his inspection? Let him flip through every inch of my soul? This emperor would rather blow up that body than endure such bullshit. Enough. Since it's already blown up, stop wailing. Although Qian Daolu went too far, this actually helped us play our part perfectly. Now Qian Renshue is crying her heart out outside. That old man Qian Daolu is at the peak of guilt and embarrassment. This is the best time for us to turn the tables. I'm not going. Just the sight of that old geezer makes me want to vomit. And that golden light. Disgusting as hell. Deal with it yourself. I want to bathe. I want to wash my soul. Bibi Dong looked at the curled up, silkworm baby. Her lips twitched slightly. Fine. Get some rest. Bibi Dong's spirit returned to her body. In those purple eyes, the previous chaos of occasional madness and occasional tenderness was gone. There was only a heart-stopping silence and indifference. The door was pushed open. Qian Daolu, Jin Yi, Guangling, and Qian Renshue, with red-rimmed eyes, stood at the door. They didn't enter. Qian Renshue looked at her frost-faced mother. The sliver of hope that had just risen in her heart instantly shattered. Her anxious heart grew cold. That gentle mother was truly gone. You're awake, High Priest. Should I thank you? Thank you for your mercy just now. What do you mean? That clone, although she was out of my control and acted crazy, she did originate from my soul after all. You destroyed her. Are you punishing me? Qian Daolu opened his mouth, but found himself speechless. What could he say? That he just wanted to run a background check? Who knew that clone had such a violent temper? Self-destructing the moment things got heated. Grandfather, you really hurt mother. Swear, I only wanted to ensure her safety. After all, she not only possesses an independent consciousness, but she is also too close to you. I had to be cautious. Cautious to the point of forcing her to self-destruct. Cautious to the point of almost destroying myself as well. Great High Priest, your methods are truly swift and decisive. Mother, don't blame grandfather. Grandfather didn't do it on purpose. Mother, what's wrong with your body? Are you in a lot of pain? What happened to me? You should ask your dear grandfather about that. Thanks to the great High Priest's divine power, that noisy fellow in my head, who even wanted to steal my body, is now completely silent. I expect for a long time, she won't come out to annoy the great High Priest again. This counts as fulfilling your wish, doesn't it? Then will mother from now on never return to that gentle self again? Bibi Dong didn't answer. She just closed her eyes and leaned back against the headboard. I'm tired. Since the great High Priest has achieved his goal, there's no need to stay here and watch me in this wretched state. Right? I want to be alone in silence. Also, I need to have a proper talk with that fellow in my head, to see what exactly is wrong with me, to see if this so-called dual personality can still coexist. Qian Daolu's pupils contracted slightly. Although that clone exploded, it was essentially just a manifestation of soul power. As long as the main body remains, as long as Bibi Dong hasn't completely gone mad, that consciousness might still be slumbering in her sea of consciousness. If they can reach an agreement, there might still be a turning point. Then get some good rest. As for Shuer, I will take good care of her. Let's go. Shuer, no, I'm not leaving. I want to stay with mother. Be good. Your mother needs quiet right now. She needs to heal. You'll only disturb her if you stay here. Once she's better, that mother might come back. Under Qian Daolu's half coercion and half persuasion, Qian Renshue was finally led away, looking back every few steps. Golden Crocodile and Guang Ling also retreated one after another, and thoughtfully closed the door. Bibi Dong remained leaning against the headboard, maintaining that weak posture, until she confirmed everyone had left the area of the Saintess Palace. On her originally cold face, a strange smile slowly emerged. Nan Feng, are you satisfied? Now, not only does Qian Daolu not dare to touch you casually, but to appease Qian Renxue, he will have to find ways to cater to this clone of yours. In Spirit Hall, you can truly run the place now. At this moment, in the Pope's Palace Square of Spirit City, unlike the grandeur and brilliance of previous Pope coronations, this ceremony seemed exceptionally bleak and rushed. No congratulations from the 7 great sects, no envoys from the 2 great empires. Even the flowers and cannons were pitifully few. Atop the high platform, a lonely Pope's throne sat there, looking exceptionally out of place. In the sea of consciousness, you looked at this shabby scene through Bibi Dong's perspective, and couldn't help but complain. This old man is truly stingy. He really is. This old man is truly stingy. The coronation of the dignified Pope of Spirit Hall. Yet it's handled like a village chief's meeting. He's terrified your prestige will be too high, making it hard to control you in the future. Bibi Dong stood behind the doors of the Pope's palace, wearing the brilliant gold robe symbolizing supreme power. Wearing the 9-curve purple gold crown, her expression was calm. As expected, although Qian Daolu compromised, he would never truly let me control Spirit Hall. He wants me to be a transitional puppet. He wants me to be bogged down by trivialities. He even wants to use subordinates to keep me in check. Unfortunately, he underestimated me too much. Boom boom boom. Although the 99 cannon shots were meager, they still echoed through the clouds. As the final cannon shot faded, the heavy doors of the Pope's palace slowly opened. Bibi Dong held the Pope's scepter. Every step she took was steady. Her gaze swept across the nearly 10,000 soul masters in the square. Although they were numerous, but she could clearly feel that in the eyes of most people, there wasn't much awe. More of it was scrutiny, doubt, and even disdain. A woman not even 30. Why should she be the Pope? Why should she lead these long-established experts? On both sides of the high platform, Qian Daolu did not appear. Only Golden Crocodile Douluo stood there with a few enshrined and elders. Golden Crocodile Douluo looked at Bibi Dong as she walked up. A hint of complexity flashed in those cloudy old eyes. He knew Qian Daolu's calculations, and knew what this shabby coronation ceremony meant. If the ceremony had been held according to normal specifications, the people below would truly believe Bibi Dong was the one they all hoped for. Then, for this woman to seize control of Spirit Hall would become simple. But the coronation was so rushed and even somewhat shabby. Not only did the high-ranking officials know something was wrong, but the people below would also have their own hidden agendas. This undoubtedly greatly increased the difficulty of Bibi Dong's task. Just in terms of winning over the people and seizing the Pope's authority, she would have to spend a lot of time and effort. On the high platform in front of the Pope's palace, Bibi Dong walked step by step toward that throne symbolizing supreme power. She didn't sit down immediately. Instead, she turned around, looking down upon the dense crowd in the square. Question me, despise me, the more you feel I am unqualified, the more you think I am just a vase who rose to power through the shadow of the previous Pope, the lower your guard will be. Qian Daolu wants me to be a hollow puppet. Then I will go with the flow, and be a Pope who seems weak and incompetent, until you all let down your guard, until I have completely seized the Pope's power. Then, I will make you all kneel and tremble at my feet, show weakness to the enemy, and deceive through stealth. This was what she learned during her long years of house arrest, the most important rule of survival. Bibi Dong took a deep breath, preparing to suppress her entire aura, to give a standard, even slightly mediocre, inauguration speech, to play the role of the mediocre Pope to the end. However, the moment she was about to speak, in the sea of consciousness, your roar, full of irritability and impatience, suddenly exploded. Patience my ass. Are you addicted to being a pig? This is Spirit Hall, the place on the continent that values strength the most. Why are you playing hide-and-seek with these soul masters who worship strength? Why play the show weakness game? Shut up. This is strategy. If I expose all my strength now, it will inevitably alert the major powers. Being cautious is the best policy. That's not strategy. That's just being cowardly. It's narrow-minded. All this time, I've been tortured by the Rakshasa evil thought. And my soul was torn apart by that old pervert Qian Daolu. And now I have to put up with these ants' nonsense for you. I've had enough. Today, I'll show these blind fools what absolute crushing power looks like. Nan Feng, how dare you? Before Bibi Dong could react, a terrifying power from the depths of the soul erupted instantly. That was your soul origin, the violent will of the 100,000-year Death Spider Emperor. Although Bibi Dong was the owner of the body, at this moment, their souls were deeply fused. If you were determined to cause trouble, it would take her some effort to stop you. But under the gaze of so many people, how could she fight herself in the sea of consciousness? Wouldn't she look like she was going crazy on the spot? In the moment Bibi Dong hesitated, you had already seized partial control of the body, limited to the control of soul power eruption. The next second, a cold, overbearing, terrifying pressure, as if from the 9 nether hells, instantly centered around Bibi Dong, swept across the entire Pope's palace square like a tsunami. The face of golden crocodile Douluo standing nearby changed abruptly. Before he could react, that pressure had already made the nearby cardinals, their legs go weak and kneel. Nearly 10,000 soul masters in the square felt as if their throats were being gripped tightly by an invisible hand, struggling to breathe, hearts racing. Then, under everyone's terrified gazes, soul rings slowly rose from beneath Bibi Dong's feet, pulsing with a heart-stopping light. Yellow, yellow, purple, purple, black, 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 black. 8 rings. Soul Douluo. A gasp had just erupted from the crowd, but it came to an abrupt halt again, because the 9th soul ring rose. It was a vivid, dripping hue, a crimson red forged from the slaughter of countless lives. That eerie red light instantly illuminated the entire dim sky. The sovereign pressure of a 100,000-year soul beast raged without reserve in the depths of everyone's soul. A titled Douluo under 30, and the 9th soul ring is the legendary 100,000-year ring. Such talent, such strength, not to mention the previous pope, Chineseanime. Even the world-renowned clear sky Douluo, Tang Hao, is far inferior. Doubt, disdain, scrutiny, before this blinding blood red, all turned into primal fear and awe. On the high platform, Bibi Dong stood there, even if she was cursing you out in her heart. But on the surface, she had to maintain this majesty. Since it's already revealed, she can only grit her teeth and keep acting. The purpose of intimidation has been achieved. Next, just complete the coronation as planned, and then slowly accumulate power. Bibi Dong slightly retracted her aura. With a flick of her long sleeve, she prepared to turn and sit on the Pope's throne. To end this simple coronation ceremony, however, your voice, filled with frustration at her weakness, rang out again. That's it? The atmosphere has been built up to this point, and you actually want to sit down and rest? Bibi Dong, do you still not understand the situation? These people below are currently terrified by your soul ring, but in their hearts, there is more fear, rather than submission. If you want them to risk their lives for you, intimidation alone is not enough. You must stir their emotions, ignite their rage. Shut up. If we act too aggressively, it will only cause the major powers to unite against us sooner. What the Spirit Hall needs now is recovery, and to plan carefully. That is the mindset of the weak. A true sovereign never needs to care about others' reactions. You are the Pope, the ruler of this continent. You should establish an image of being inviolable to all. You should establish an image for everyone that is inviolable. A godlike image that cannot be looked upon directly. Make them tremble at the mere mention of your name. Make them want to kneel at the sight of your shadow. Since you dare not say it, then let me say it. You dare. Bibi Dong was furious, attempting to regain control. But this is the Pope's Hall Square, watched by thousands. If at this moment, she fought for the body with another soul inside her, even a moment of stiffness or twitching, or a loss of facial control, would make her, the new pope, instantly become the laughingstock of the entire continent. Just a momentary daze. Bibi Dong, who was about to sit, suddenly froze, then stood straight again. You controlled Bibi Dong's body, standing at the edge of the platform, without looking at the bishops who were still trembling, but instead cast your gaze toward the distant horizon. Just now, weren't you all questioning this seat's age? Questioning this seat's qualifications? Why are you all bowing your heads now? The entire place fell silent. No one dared to respond. Raise your heads. Many, trembling all over, subconsciously raised their heads. I know what you are thinking. You are afraid, ashamed, and also angry. The dignified Pope of the Spirit Hall, the supreme leader of the Soul Master world, was actually severely wounded by Tang Hao, who had just become a titled Douluo, and eventually died from the injuries. This is a great humiliation for the spirit hall, right? Among the crowd below, many people's breathing became rapid, their eyes flashing with the fire of humiliation. This seat tells you, this is indeed a humiliation. But this humiliation does not lie in how strong the Clear Sky sect is, but in the fact that the previous pope was too incompetent. As soon as these words were spoken, everyone was shocked. The golden crocodile Douluo standing aside suddenly widened his eyes, almost thinking he had misheard. What? Think this seat is wrong? The dignified pope, leading 2 titled Douluo elders, and countless experts of the spirit hall, to surround and kill a Tang Hao who had just broken through level 90, and the result? Became famous while being trampled underfoot, yet returned fleeing like a stray dog, and finally died miserably in bed. If this isn't incompetence, then what is? If this isn't being useless, then what is? The honor of 18 generations of Spirit Hall ancestors was completely disgraced by Chineseanime. The entire crowd erupted in an uproar. Insane. The new pope has gone mad. Rumors are spreading everywhere that Tang Hao is the greatest genius in the world, and that the Haotian clan will restore its former glory. Ridiculous. Absurd. Since the dignity lost by that waste, Chineseanime, cannot be reclaimed by him, then I shall reclaim it personally. Pass my decree. From this day forward, all members of Spirit Hall, upon seeing any disciple of the Haotian clan, shall kill without mercy. I will use the blood of the entire Haotian clan to wash away this disgrace. Let the whole world know that the majesty of Spirit Hall must not be offended. The majesty of the Pope is even more sacred. As the final roar subsided, the entire venue erupted, not with fear, but with fanaticism. Nearly 10,000 soul masters were completely ignited by this inflammatory and domineering speech. Their faces flushed red, waving their arms, roaring at the top of their lungs. The fervor in their eyes was almost overflowing. Kill! 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 Blood for blood! Flatten the Haotian clan! Long live Spirit Hall! Long live Her Holiness the Pope! Golden Crocodile Douluo stood behind Bibi Dong, looking at the figure with her back to him, arms raised high, receiving the worship of the masses. His expression was somewhat grim, but seeing those below who had been completely incited, some even appearing manic, Golden Crocodile Douluo had to admit that this woman is a born leader. You stand atop the high platform, feeling the countless pairs of eyes below, bloodshot with desire, hatred, and fervor. The manic smile at the corner of your lips grew more intense. Look, little Dong Dong, this is human nature. These people usually act all righteous, but in their bones, they are greedier than anyone. To them, war means merit, means territory, and means they can legitimately plunder the wealth the Haotian clan accumulated over millennia. As long as we raise the banner of righteousness, they will risk their lives for their own profit. Your so-called keeping a low profile, showing weakness to the enemy, in the eyes of these soul masters, is nothing but weakness and incompetence. They don't need a politician who only knows how to reason. They need a bandit chief who can lead them to kill and burn, to steal money and seize territory. Bibi Dong was momentarily stunned by these words. This completely overturned the survival rules she had followed, with caution and trepidation for the past 10 years. However, this domineering style of play also has one fatal flaw. That is, you can only win. You cannot lose. Once you lose, even if it's just a minor setback, those who just praised you to the heavens will instantly trample you into the mud. You will immediately become the incompetent waste you spoke of. After all, he who wants to wear the crown must bear its weight. Nan Fong, are you schizophrenic? Or do you think I'm that easy to fool? When I wanted to deal with Chineseanime before, you were as cautious as a shrinking turtle. Now, why are you urging me to use this win or lose routine? Isn't the contrast in your behavior a bit too extreme? Big sister, times have changed. What was the situation back then? That was regicide. That was rebellion. If we had failed, or if the plot had been exposed, we both would have ended up in the depths of hell. With our heads on the line, how could we not be cautious? But now, you are already the Pope. You've already claimed the seat. Plus, we just put on a great show with that double personality act. And we're holding Qianrenxue as our insurance policy. Besides, I don't think we'll lose. In reality, Bibi Dong slowly withdrew the overwhelming killing intent and pressure. She looked down at the crowd of spirit masters still shouting, "Long live the Pope." A flicker of complexity crossed her eyes, but was quickly replaced by determination. Since she had already boarded this rogue ship, she had no choice but to see it through to the end. Elders' Hall, Meeting Hall. The atmosphere was heavy. In front of a massive oval table, the core leadership of Spirit Hall were seated. Everyone's gaze was focused on the main seat, on the figure who had just sat down. Even when facing a group of veterans, whose seniority far exceeded hers, the old titled Douluos, Bibi Dong's aura showed no sign of cowardice. Instead, she carried a cold majesty that had settled after being worshipped by 10,000 people in the square. Today's ceremony, Your Majesty's elegance was truly impressive, and that declaration was indeed inspiring. However, war is not a game, nor can it be won with a few passionate slogans. Now that the words have been spoken, the eyes of the whole world are on Spirit Hall. Since Your Majesty intends to gather the army within 3 days, to attack the Clear Sky School, you must already have a foolproof plan in mind. I wonder how Your Majesty intends to attack, and how to fight. If the top 3 sects stand together, and the 7 treasure glazed tile school and blue lightning tyrant dragon clan intervene, how should we respond? At the main seat, Bibi Dong's expression remained unchanged, her fingers tapping lightly on the table. Nan Feng, this mess of yours, you deal with it. I can, just give me the body, and I'll take over the fight. In reality, in Bibi Dong's purple eyes, a strange spark suddenly flashed. Her originally calm and water-like temperament became extremely aggressive in an instant. To deal with the Clear Sky School, this seat strategy consists of only 16 characters. Clip their wings. Besiege the point to strike reinforcements. Strike directly at the heart. Root them out completely. We are eager to hear the details. Step 1. Clip their wings. Though the Clear Sky School is strong, most of its disciples are direct descendants, and their numbers are limited. Their peripheral forces mainly rely on the 4 single attribute clans: the Power Clan, the Defense Clan, the Agility Clan, the Attack Clan. These 4 clans are the eyes, ears, purse, and armory of the Clear Sky School. Pass the order. Act against these 4 clans immediately. No need for surrender appeals. No need for negotiations. With the army pressing upon them, those who do not submit shall be exterminated. I want to make the Clear Sky School blind overnight. As soon as these words were spoken, everyone's expression changed. Your Majesty, although the 4 clans rely on the Clear Sky School, this war was ultimately started because of the direct disciple Tang Hao focusing fire on them first. How much significance does that have? Therefore, Step 2. Besiege the point to strike reinforcements. When the 4 clans are attacked, will the Clear Sky School save them or not? If they do, it will play right into our hands. You elders can intercept and kill them on the way. Kill every single one that comes. Kill every pair that arrives, ensuring they never return. If they don't, the morale of the Clear Sky School will crumble. Who would dare rely on them in the future? By then, spirit masters worldwide will see that the Clear Sky School is strong on the outside but hollow inside, and inherently selfish. As for the 3rd step, when their wings are gone, their morale is lost. With no reinforcements from without, and no supplies within, that will be the day this seat personally leads the army to flatten the gates of the Clear Sky School. The elders looked at Bibi Dong, who was now radiating killing intent, as if possessed by a goddess of war, and were all too intimidated to speak. This plan is too crazy, too aggressive, but also too tempting. Golden Crocodile Douluo remained silent for a long time, quickly calculating the feasibility of the plan in his mind. If the first 2 steps could actually be achieved, the Clear Sky School would be half destroyed. Moreover, this style of fighting perfectly matches the current high morale of Spirit Hall. Golden Crocodile tilted his head slightly toward a burly figure sitting below him. The fleshy-faced elder gave a glance. That was the high-ranking elder Mo Xiong of the Elder Hall. Your Holiness, this plan does sound exhilarating, but please allow me to be blunt. Is it perhaps too underestimating of the enemy? What is Elder Mo Xiong's insight? I wouldn't dare call it an insight. It's just that these 4 single attribute clans, although they are merely merely affiliates, are the sharpest blades of the Clear Sky sect, especially the Strength and Break clans. Their offensive power is immense. They are by no means easy targets. To suppress these 4 clans with thunderous force, we must deploy combat power at the Tidal Douluo level. More crucially, regarding the strategy of besieging a point to strike reinforcements. Although the Clear Sky sect now has only one Tidal Douluo, Sect Master Tang Xiao. Those few elders, which one of them isn't a peak spirit Douluo with soul power above level 85? The Clear Sky Hammer is known as the world's #1 tool spirit. Its attack power is unrivaled among the same rank. If they fight desperately, they could truly drag a Tidal Douluo down with them. If we split our forces into 4 routes, while the Clear Sky sect concentrates all its elite elders to rescue only one clan, how will our scattered teams respond? When that time comes, will we be besieging the point to strike reinforcements, or will the enemy concentrate their superior forces and crush us one by one? For a moment, the atmosphere in the conference room quickly cooled down from the previous fervor, becoming somewhat timid and hesitant. Many elders began whispering to each other, their eyes flickering, clearly thinking of retreating. Seeing this, Yu suddenly let out a light laugh, the laughter carrying undisguised contempt and mockery. Your Holiness, what are you laughing at? I laugh because you've lived your whole lives, cultivated to become Tidal Douluos, yet your minds are still stuck in decades ago. Do you think the Clear Sky sect is too strong, or perhaps too united? Or is it that the plaque of the world's #1 sect, from back then, has completely terrified you? Have you all forgotten what happened when Spirit Hall first sent Tidal Douluos to hunt down Tang Hao, wanting to seize that 100,000-year humanoid soul beast? What happened then? At that time, Tang Hao was merely a level 84 spirit Douluo, while one of our elders was a grand Tidal Douluo of over level 90. In the end, Tang Hao not only fought back, but also smashed that elder's leg with one hammer blow, and walked away triumphantly. If I recall correctly, that elder seems to be Lord Mo Xiong, isn't it? Mo Xiong's face instantly turned as black as a pot bottom. His fists clenched tight, yet he couldn't utter a single word. Now, let's talk about the unity of the Clear Sky sect. The previous Pope, Chineseanime, issued a decree denouncing the Clear Sky sect, demanding they hand over Tang Hao and that soul beast. What happened then? Tang Hao's stubborn old father was already terminally ill. Upon hearing the news, and unable to find that filial son, he simply passed away from sheer rage. If not for the fact that Tang Xiao had just broken through level 90, and became a Tidal Douluo, barely stabilizing the situation. Guess what? Those elders of the Clear Sky sect would have done. Would they have fought Spirit Hall to the death for that rebellious son, Tang Hao? Or would they, to preserve the sect, have simply sold Tang Hao out? Everyone here is an old fox who has lived for decades. Could you possibly not see through this? You are truly living in the past, living in the shadow of that old monster, Tang Chen. But now, Tang Chen is gone, missing for so many years, no sign of him alive, no sign of his corpse. The current Clear Sky sect is nothing more than a toothless tiger. Although Tang Xiao is a Tidal Douluo, his personality is indecisive, capable of maintaining, but lacking in ambition. As for those elders, they are just a bunch of selfish, old fools who only bully their own. I can state this right here. As soon as Spirit Hall's army arrives, as soon as our blades are at their throats, it won't take long before those so-called hard bones will publicly announce Tang Hao's expulsion from the sect. They will say that killing Chineseanime was Tang Hao's individual act, and had nothing to do with the Clear Sky sect. They will claim they are innocent, and that they are the victims. To save themselves, they will abandon Tang Hao without hesitation, abandon the affiliated clans, and even abandon their dignity. Everyone looked at one another, the fear in their eyes gradually replaced by doubt and contemplation. Your Holiness, your words make sense, but what if we bet wrong? What if the Haotian sect is truly pushed to the brink, and a cornered dog will bite? Elder Gui, I never gamble, because I have already prepared for them a gift that will force them to submit. What gift? I will personally write a letter to Tang Xiao, telling him that as long as the Haotian sect announces its seclusion, hands over the 4 subsidiary clans, and publicly expels Tang Hao, I may consider sparing the Haotian sect. If you were Tang Xiao, facing the Spirit Hall's army at your doorstep, facing a coup from your own elders, facing a choice between life and death, would you choose, for the sake of a brother who has caused catastrophic trouble, to die? Or would you choose to cut off the tail to survive and preserve the sect? Every elder silently asked themselves this question. The answer was obvious. Furthermore, in this battle, none of you here need to take any risks. The 4 single attribute clans, we can pick the easiest target. Aside from being fast, these people have no other skills. A few power attack Soul Douluo bishops could easily crush them into the ground. Even better, Bai He, the patriarch of the Agile clan, is the biological uncle of Tang Hao and Tang Xiao. This blood relation is a bond that cannot be broken. If the Haotian sect still has any shred of spirit, and truly wants to rescue one of the clans, their primary target will undoubtedly be the Agile clan. Therefore, we only need to concentrate our elite forces entirely on the Agile clan's front. As for the other 3 clans, just send a few people to harass them, to put on a show. As long as we hold them back, creating an illusion that they are being crushed by Spirit Hall and are in imminent danger, that will be enough. There is no need for a fight to the death. At this point, you look around the room, looking at the elders who are still hesitating, a hint of undisguised mockery appearing on your face. What? You were worried about being defeated one by one just now, and now that I've concentrated the main forces, you're still afraid? Then I will personally lead elders Chrysanthemum and Ghost to the Agile clan's headquarters. If Tang Xiao dares to come, I will deal with him myself. If those elders dare to come, I will personally send them to their graves. Your Holiness, you take too much upon yourself. Although my strength is lacking, I am still an elder of Spirit Hall. I am no coward who fears death. Since your Holiness dares to personally oversee the dangerous Agile clan, then for us to deal with the other 3, what is there to fear? That's right, that old gorilla from the Strength clan. I've wanted to meet him for a long time. This time, I'll definitely break his bones. I am also willing to go. In an instant, the crowd became impassioned. Whether their spirit was truly stirred or they just wanted to save face, even the golden crocodile Douluo could not say anything more in such an atmosphere.